At Zenni, you get the same quality frame and lens options that you'd get from an optician for 1/10 of the price, including blue blockers, progressives, prescription sunglasses, and more. The best part? Try on any frame, anywhere with our 3D virtual try-on. Zenni.com. Eyewear for everyone.
Donato's just didn't add bacon to their pizzas. They added bacon to their bacon. It's Donato's new Bacon Duo pizzas. 2 pizzas, each with 2 kinds of bacon. Try the new Pepperoni Bacon Duo with pepperoni, Canadian bacon, and hardwood smoked bacon. And the Chipotle Bacon Duo with Canadian bacon and Chipotle seasoned bacon. Now get $2 off a large Bacon Duo or any large pizza. Use promo code 2. Donato's. Every piece is important.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everybody, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 186. This week, I am very pleased to be joined by a returning guest. Hello, JoJo.
Hello, John. Sorry there about the little delay. We're working through some technical issues here, but yeah, I'm happy to be back. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so we're here to do. Actually, you volunteered, I think. But
yeah, I did.
I invited you for the. Or no. I think
you put
volunteered.
the general invitation, and I raised my hand.
There you go.
So thanks for inviting us.
But yes, welcome back. We're here to talk about 2 shows: the New Japan World Tag League and Best of Super Junior final from this past Friday, December 11th, and the DDT D-Ou Night 7, the final block night from Saturday 12/12. Pretty much wrapping up our coverage of all 3 tournaments. You know, there's still the D-Ou finals, but that's not for another couple weeks on the 27th. So I guess that will finally wrap things up completely, and that will probably be covered on the Patreon. But what have you been up to, JoJo, before we get into all that? Probably nothing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, mostly nothing. A lot of exercise, a lot of work, but not much in terms of hobby type stuff. I mean, with baseball season over and wrestling like kind of back, things are pretty quiet around here. But yeah, just enjoying fall colors, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I haven't even really gone outside my house much at all, so you probably did more than me. I mean, not that things are great in Japan right now, but every time I see these headlines, I'm like, oh, Tokyo's in a big record, 800 cases. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Like...
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, like, in general, people are just going about their lives.
Yeah.
Just with a mask on.
Right.
But I'm not. My favorite thing about living here is going to restaurants, and I'm just not doing that unless I can do takeout, which kind of sucks. But, I do get outside every day and go running. I have a nice gym in my building, so I take advantage of that. But, yeah, other than that, just, spending a lot of time at home.
Yeah. I mean, really, I'm trying to remember the last time I went out. It's probably...
Are we talking like the last time you stepped foot outside?
Yes, other than my balcony.
Okay.
Other than I go on my balcony. Like, the last time I left my apartment... it's probably like 2.5 weeks ago.
Wow.
Because I'm trying to think when we had to go to because we get all our groceries and stuff delivered.
Okay,
So
that's not an option here.
Yeah, we had to go to the store to get like a chicken because they didn't have it. Like a full roaster for Thanksgiving. That's what we eat instead of turkey because neither of us like turkey. But it was that was like Wednesday the 25th. So November 25th. So yeah, I can't think of anything else I've left my house for because I work at home, obviously, thank God. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, before like late October was the last time I really like went out where like I went to see my dad in New Jersey. But now, cases have gotten so high that, I don't even feel comfortable going visiting him and like, maybe a couple friends in New Jersey like I did, prior this month.
So I haven't seen anybody other than my wife in a long, long time. But, we go out for a walk in the morning. And then, like I said, I'm usually either running outside or going to the gym every day. So that's, but I do try to go to the gym when I'm basically the only person there. So,
yeah. I wasn't seeing a ton of people, to be clear. It was like just my dad and like one friend usually. But yeah, before that felt a little safer before November, and now it's back to being a total shit show. So I basically told my dad, "I'll see you in February, probably when this thing peaks again." And thankfully, he is he's a news watcher and not like a crazy Republican or anything. So he's a Democrat actually. But not a crazy COVID denier, I guess. And he is, he's basically like, yeah, that's probably for the best, and you shouldn't be riding New Jersey Transit right now anyway. So, because the only way to get there.
Two things. First of all, one thing you probably weren't aware of about Japan that you will like, since you don't like turkey, is that it's really fucking hard to get turkey. So that was a thing. We did it.
You did get turkey though?
We did get turkey.
So they don't copy us for American Thanksgiving like we like to do for Christmas then.
No, they don't. So you can get it at some restaurants, but obviously that's not an option. But turkeys just don't really exist in the wild here, as far as I know. So they're all imported, and then the market for people that want that type of meal on Thanksgiving is pretty small. So basically, as far as I can tell, there's 2 grocery stores that have it. So
yeah, wow. What was the other thing?
And the other thing is that trains here are, like I said, pretty much back to normal. Just everybody's in a mask, but people aren't altering their routines at all, really.
Yeah.
So that's been a no-go for me.
Yeah. I saw an estimate that said, in large part, based on the speed of vaccinations, but also in large part because of how many more goddamn infections America's had than Japan. Japan Times was quoting this expert who said, or I think this panel of experts who said America could be, quote, back to normal by April of 2021, and their estimate for Japan was February or March 2022.
Yeah,
because I guess it'll take that long to vaccinate everybody when they don't have this giant level of, infections like America has, obviously. So
yeah,
but yeah,
we will see.
I really want to go in December next year, but if they tell me I have to wear a mask, not really a big deal. Been doing that all this time anyway.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much going to happen. The other thing is that we tentatively have the Olympics next summer.
Yeah.
Which will play into, I think, the vaccination rates here. I actually have a ticket for the Olympics still, so we'll see if that happens, but hopefully that will.
Have you heard anything about whether or not you'll be able to get vaccinated as a foreign national living over there?
Yes, you can. That's definitely part of the plan. It's basically going to be handled at in Tokyo at least, at the district, the ku level.
Mm.
But yeah, and they're saying that all residents are getting it for free.
So including foreign residents, yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
I can't imagine America doing that, but who knows, I guess. But yeah, I have no idea what the plans are here. Everything I see is estimated, maybe. It's okay, so there's no plan. That's good. It's like like everything else in this country, I guess. But not that this is the Bash America hour, although I do love to bash America. But we're here to talk about professional wrestling, which is, of course, the whole point of the show. I don't know where I was going with that. But yes, we're here to talk about 2 shows. I already mentioned that. New Japan DDT. Of course, we've been covering all 3 of these tournaments on the Omakase Patreon. So if you're not signed up for that, we've actually gotten a whole bunch of new signups in the last few days. So thank you if you have signed up recently and you're listening to this. But we've wrapped up, our coverage here, basically. If you want to go back and listen to anything from all 3 tournaments, every single night covered at patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. It's only $5 to sign up, so you get access to everything we've ever done. So all 3 of these tournaments, the G1, also the G1, the Champion Carnival, the N1, all the other series we've done, every single Okada-Tanahashi match in order, every single Naito Ishii match in order, those are complete and ready for you to listen. We just started a brand new series, which is covering every single Tokyo Dome main event in order. That's our new one-match series. Now, we're going to do this for all December and January. We just started this past week with the first 2 episodes on the very first Tokyo Dome show at New Japan, where we talked a lot about the Soviet Union and, the state of the Soviet Union at the time, because it was Antonio Inoki against this big Georgian judoka, which that match was actually awesome. I could not believe how great that was. But yeah, we talked all about the match and also, everything else leading up to it. And then the second one we did, with the episode I really loved recording, was on the UWF U Cosmos show, which was the second Tokyo Dome show from later in '89, in November '89. That was an awesome show to record. I went over the crazy history of the UWF. If you don't know that story, it's a great story. Not going to repeat it here. You have to go subscribe. But all the different UWFs that there were, not even just the one we're talking about here. The New Japan, All Japan, 80s, feud, and the TV executive who was secretly behind that, and, the Inoki biotech scandal, and how that, resulted in, losing Riki Choshu, and also the UWF guys leaving and, forming that promotion for the first time, and then them coming back, and, leaving again. So we went through the whole timeline, and then we also talked about the insane 3-way UWF split, and how it just the incredible directions this thing went in to form all these different companies that also went on to form more companies. I honestly forgot some of it before I was doing the research for that episode. I totally forgot that Battle Arts can be traced directly to one of these, which I had no idea. So there's so much stuff in that episode. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the actual match, the we're covering, Akira Maeda and Willie Wilhelm, is under 10 minutes and then also clipped for some reason, because the only thing that exists is this VHS release they put out. It didn't air on TV anywhere, and they felt the need to clip a under 10 minute 2-round match for some reason. But we still cover. I covered the match. It's just there's almost no footage to cover. But we ended up talking much more about all the background and incredible stories around the UWF, because it is really, really interesting stuff. But yeah, we're just getting started. We're going to be going through, all the SWS stuff, the famous Money Puro eyeglass company, funded company. We'll have a bunch of Hulk Hogan appearances, because I forgot how many main events Hulk Hogan worked in the early days of the Tokyo Dome until I was going through it. There's some crazy stuff coming up. So, $5 gets you all that. Like I said, we'll be doing it through January. I think, based on my calculations, we'll get up to 1995 before we stop, and then, I'll resume this next year around Dome season, is my general idea. So just keep bringing this back every year till we get through them. But it should be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's the Tokyo Dome series. It's at patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. To be clear, every Dome main event, not just New Japan, not just 1-4. That's what we're doing. So, that'll be $5. Like I said, the next one is a New Japan main event. We'll be doing this week. It is Chono and Hashimoto against Antonio Inoki and Yukio's dad, Seiji Sakaguchi. So that'll be covered on the next one-match episode on the Patreon. And I think the one after that is the Summit. So that's Hulk Hogan versus Stan Hansen. So that match is pretty crazy if you've never seen it. So that'll be fun to talk about. But yeah, that's on the Patreon. So In the meantime, here on the free episode, we're here to talk about 2 shows. So let's get started here with the New Japan World Tag League 2020 and Best of Super Junior 27 final. I thought this was a great show. That's pretty much where I'm at with the overall show. Like, obviously there's only one match that I would call outstanding, but I thought like they did a lot of really cool angles on this show to really get me excited for the Wrestle Kingdom undercards. Like, I thought you could really see the cards start to take shape here, and I liked a lot of the angles they did. So,
yeah, that was basically, my take on it too. They used the undercard very well. Pretty much every match had some meaningful implication for Wrestle Kingdom, which is a great use of the show. And then obviously, as a bonus, you got, 2 kind of standalone matches that do relate to Wrestle Kingdom, but obviously are the cap of this tour. And one of which was an amazing match. So, yeah, good show. Great show, actually.
Yeah, so really, I think, for some of the negativity that's been surrounding this company in the late summer to fall, I think some of that's starting to break a little bit in some circles. Maybe some people just haven't seen it and aren't, are still kind of down on it. But, I mean, the thing I'm still down on, I guess, going into the Dome, which I talked a lot about in the written preview for this show that I did on voicesofwrestling.com, was the Double Dome booking. I still don't like the Double Dome booking. I still don't think the Double Dome title booking. I just still don't think it made a lot of sense. But I do like what they're doing in a vacuum with the Naito Ibushi, feud, with like Naito coming off like kind of the super confident champion, and Ibushi basically, saying, asking if he's really taking it seriously. That's a good build for the two of them. It just feels like, Jay White's not even here, so it feels like he is off on his own goddamn world, and it doesn't feel like there's any build at all to, the winner has to fight Jay White. So, if I'm gonna point out a negative, I think that's the major negative. But I don't know.
Yeah, in terms of the storylines, I think they're on the right path. I don't really have any criticisms there. I do have a couple that I'll get into when we start talking about some matches that are kind of, I think, symptoms of their overall direction right now, and kind of hamper my overall enjoyment of New Japan at the moment, even though there are obviously some pretty bright spots.
That's fair. So the opener here was Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, and Taiji Ishimori defeating the team of Toriano, Sho, and Robbie Eagles. Chase pinning Eagles in 5:53 with the grenade launcher. So the Bullet Club guys attacked for the bell, of course, as you'd expect. Yano, I don't know. His whole normal method of wrestling is to try and trick and outsmart people, and he always tries to slam Fale. You might be tempted to say it's because they're setting up the stupid body slam match, which that wouldn't be a good excuse anyway, but I've actually seen him try to slam Fale in plenty of other matches too, and it's like, buddy, your whole thing is usually trying to outsmart people. Why are you just trying to slam this giant man? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I don't know.
He's one of his key characteristics is that he often bites off more than he can chew. I'm not sure if you saw his recent YouTube video where he lined up 15 Yoshinoya bowls to try to eat them all in one sitting, and he got through 3. So I think that's part of his character too, is that he his eyes are bigger than his stomach.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that does make sense. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it came off like, what the hell? But yeah, I did like that Yano hit him with the turnbuckle pad when Fale just no-sold it. That was pretty funny. But probably the highlight of the match, if anything. But yeah, they hit the grenade launcher on Eagles for the pin. This was all right. I didn't think it was terrible or anything. It's nothing you would ever regret missing, though. I would go 2 3/4. Like, the Fale Yano stuff at the start was special. It was funny. The Fale Yano stuff at the start was funny. And there was some decent action afterward, but nothing special. So,
yeah, not by any means something that you need to go out of your way to watch.
It was nice they kept it short, I guess. They did keep it under 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Afterwards, Yano tried to slam Fale yet again, only to get slammed by Fale for the 5th time in this match, I think, or, after the match too. And then Chase hands Fale the KOPW trophy. He smashes it for a second time. This time on purpose, because if you watch that, the match where Tonga Lois smashed it in the World Tag League the first time, he did not mean to smash that trophy. Like, you could see the way he was walking past it so casually, and the camera was not even on him, and he just kind of like swatted at it, I think thinking he was just going to knock it over, to be a little bit of a dick heel, and the thing just like exploded. So he did not mean to do that. Whereas this time, he obviously Fale meant to kill the thing here.
Yeah. Going back to his YouTube channel, Yano also has a video where he repairs the thing by hand. So I think, again, like trying to play a little bit into this character that he's building on his YouTube channel, the fans reacted to this like, holy shit!
Yeah, they were really
so hard to fix this thing.
They were really into it. Yeah, they're really into the.
It was what was the? There was an angle that they ran with the IC title or something where like Naito was just like brutalizing these belts, and then someone repaired it. Was it Tanahashi? He repaired the belt, and then Naito threw it on the floor again, and that got a big reaction. That was a couple years ago at this point.
Yeah.
But that type of thing where like you spend your personal time trying to fix like your trophy or your belt, and then your opposition just kind of shits on it, always seems to get a big reaction in New Japan.
Yeah. The KOPW trophy, boys, has turned out to be a whole lot of nothing. It's I actually forget it exists a lot of the times until like when I started writing the preview for this show. I was like, wait a second, Yano has this fucking trophy. Maybe they'll set something up for it. But it feels like such a non-entity. My personal theory on this is I don't have inside info on this, but this is just how I read it. This is what I've read on it. I think they had way bigger plans for it originally. There actually were some rumors about that early on, floating around in like dark Twitter, that this thing was going to be a big, big deal. Which made it all the more surprising when Yano won it. So I think they did have those big plans for it originally. Japanese fans fucking hated it. And I've seen that. I've seen some of the tweets and stuff. Like I saw one Japanese fan compare it to the Ultimate Royale, I think it was called. Remember the multi-man match that Ron Waterman won that was like a complete disaster during the Inoki era? Which is like, that's like a WWE fan comparing something to like Katie Vick. Like, I think it's about the same. Like, that thing is remembered as like one of the biggest disasters in New Japan history. So to compare
it, not a fond of nostalgia or anything.
Exactly. So like I remember seeing a fan compare it to that, and I've heard from other people who follow the Japanese fans even more than I do, that like they complained about when this trophy was announced, like when Okada just announced the rules and stuff. They complained about this in like every form of social media and which they call SNS. And, like, every other, like, online place you can imagine. Like, apparently there was, like, even, like, I don't know, people wrote them emails and stuff. So, I think they saw this incredible backlash, and they changed the original plans to Yano winning it and making it a comedy title. I do not think that was supposed to happen originally, and I think they're going to quietly get rid of it. That's my...
Yeah, I'd totally be in favor of getting rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, it means if they keep it around as a Yano comedy title, I guess it's really no big deal. But I don't know. I definitely think this was a change of plans. I can't see this being the original plan. Okada announcing it and then having it be this Yano comedy belt or comedy trophy.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see here. The second match was Will Ospreay, Great Okan, and Jeff Cobb, the Empire, defeating Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Toa Hanare. Cobb pinning Hanare in 10:45 with the Tour of the Islands. First things first, we have a new theme song here. I didn't see anything. Did you see if there was a new song for Ospreay or a new song for the Empire? They don't really do that many stable themes, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's just a new Ospreay song. He desperately needs one, so I don't know.
I did not see anything specifically explaining it, no.
Yeah, I don't know. I assume it's probably a new Ospreay song, because, like, Elevate is a really bad heel theme song. I mean, it worked for Naito, keeping his babyface theme song when he turned, but, I mean, I don't know. That song's really bad for a heel. So who knows? It could be a stable song, It didn't really make much of an impression on me either way, though, the theme song. I don't know about you. But...
Yeah, me neither. Nothing, not super memorable.
It was just kind of like this hard guitar riff, and, like, there were lyrics I couldn't even make out. I don't know.
Not like my most fondly remembered recent New Japan theme, which was Moxley's theme.
Oh yeah,
I thought the first time that played, it had an impact.
What?
Whereas this did not have the same.
I really think Evil's theme is pretty great. The new heel theme.
Yeah, Evil's is good too.
Yeah, that's probably the best part of the act, honestly. But yeah, the theme song, like I said, plays them out. Okan has the full gold robe and the question mark over his face. We haven't seen that on the Tag League tour, and I was really scared that he was going to have the fucking parachute pants back. But thankfully, he was still wearing the short tights under them. So I think that's like the the best combination, I think, because it's great entrance gear. But those fucking like poofy parachute pants he was wearing, the yellow parachute pants before the Tag League tour, I thought looked too goofy. So short
one thing I enjoy about Oka right now is that like you can tell that he has some pretty good ideas, but he's working through them.
Yeah.
So you kind of see this thing developing in front of us, which is really cool to me.
Yeah, I talked about that repeatedly on the World Tag League audio. It's like you could see him just working in more and more stuff throughout the Tag League and getting more and more comfortable. It was one of the big highlights of the Tag League for me, was he was clearly just like, I don't know, he was clearly really like putting it all together. So he did a great job. Just especially just adding in like more and more of his legitimate judo background and the other grappling arts that he does. I think he's like a sambo guy too. So you can see him working more and more of that into his moveset, and just looks more and more comfortable now. So, but yeah. So Tanahashi and Hanare also got their own little separate entrances from Okada. That was a little interesting, I guess. I don't really know what that meant. I guess besides we want Tanahashi to get his entrance at the Budokan, probably. But so Tanahashi and Okan, they have a very interesting exchange where Okan hits the Mongolian chops, Tanahashi blocks the last one, hits a slap to the face, but then Okan gets this awesome leg capture instead, like straight into a leg hold, and then like assaults his leg repeatedly after that. That was so great.
Yeah, that's that sambo that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
It almost reminded me of like Volkan.
I mean, it was a great leg capture. I don't know. Like I put out another, like I'm probably getting insufferable on Okan, but I really think like the people who say he's bad at this point are like so out to lunch. And I put out some tweet about it a couple days ago, and somebody, I can't remember who it was, I think it was one of the guys from that Q and Tear podcast, he quote tweeted and just said like, don't be on the wrong side of history, that's honestly what I think now when it comes to Okan. Like I just think the people who are still insisting he's bad or the gimmick will never work or stuff, whatever. It's like what is bad about him at this point? Like I don't really know. But
yeah, I mean one thing that I think is a little bit of a disconnect between the perception here in Japan and the Western perception of just gimmicks in general is that it's not like he's playing a character necessarily, right? He's just trying to develop his own personal style. Obviously there's some exaggerated things about it, but it's not like he was given this like, you're gonna play this hopping ghost Mongolian shoot fighter. Like this is just him, like we said, putting together ideas. So it's not like you can give him a pass fail evaluation on it. He's gonna be good. He's just working through it. So to say that it's not going to work out is just completely off base.
The gimmick was his idea too, wasn't it? That's what I read.
So that's another thing that I've heard is that they're not in New Japan. They're not really given gimmicks. They're just expected to come up with ideas for themselves. So like people gave Kawato a hard time about his costume and his nickname and all that stuff. But like that's coming from the wrestler. It's not like he's given it by some creative department.
Right, so Gato and like fucking whoever else is not sitting there like, we're going to give him blue hair as a fucking drib. Because that's how I see people describe it. It's like, that's really not how these gimmicks work.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
so to say that this gimmick was given to him and it's failing is just the wrong context.
It's the wrong context, and it's like, I don't even get where it's based in reality at this point, because the gimmick seems to be getting over. I mean, every time he does the Mongolian chops, the people clap extra loud. So I'm like, that'd be a weird reaction to give if you hate it. So I don't know. I just like one of these things where Okan, like I had a debate with somebody in some Discord and I just like when he said something like Okan doesn't look like a star, like that to me is just so wrong that I don't even really know. It's not a great debate point to me. Like I don't feel like I don't really know how I should debate it, because it's like he so clearly does come off like a star to me, and so clearly does have this charisma that just I don't really get it. Like I don't see how you can, not to skip ahead too much, but this post-match stuff where he's giving that speech to the Budokan with no fucking microphone, just screaming it out. Like I don't know how you watch that and go like, this guy doesn't have it. Like I don't get it, honestly. But it's one of the bigger disconnects for me in wrestling discourse right now. Like I don't get the people who insist he's not working or is too goofy or whatever the fuck. So anyway, so we get this cool missile drop kick, double backdrop suplex combo to Tanahashi from the Empire team. Ospreay, of course, was the one who hit the drop kick. I said cool, but it was a little slow, actually. One of those spots they probably need to work the kinks out of, but I think it'll look... I think it has the potential to look really cool eventually, but they do probably need to work on it. Cobb and Hanare, they have a pretty fun exchange. Hanare does his best to hang with the hatchet, as Cobb is now known. He survives his power offense and eventually stuns him with a spin kick, and that leads up to a big Samoan drop for a 2 count. And then Okan really gets to show off his technical side here. He gets another leg takedown on Tanahashi that looks beautiful, and that takes Tanahashi out of it towards the end, which sets up Cobb to hit the Tour of the Islands on Hanare for the pin. I thought this was a very enjoyable 6-man tag. You know, I thought everybody worked well together, set up some really nice sequences. I went 3.5 stars. I liked this quite a bit.
Wow, yeah. I enjoyed it. I didn't rate it that high. But I think it was well worked. And I think it ultimately, served its main purpose, which was setting up stuff for Wrestle Kingdom. But yeah, I think, these guys are, not only is Oka kind of developing into who he's going to become, but also the Empire as a group is still, it's still a work in progress. So definitely positive signs to cap off this tour.
Yeah, for sure. Afterwards, we get the Okada Ospreay go face to face. Okada grabs Ospreay by the throat, but Jeff Cobb grabs Okada from behind, holds him for the Oscutter. That was pretty good. I mean, I haven't loved the Okada Ospreay build so far, but that was a good little spot with like Ospreay's big bully saving him from Okada.
Yeah, there's little flashes where you can tell like these guys are holding back. They don't want to give away too much for what they have planned for the Dome, but my expectations for that match are pretty high.
Then Okan brings Tanahashi into the ring. Cobb and Ospreay hold him for Okan to repeatedly hit in the leg with a chair. So there's a setup for Okan versus Tanahashi at the Dome. They both also did challenge after the match. And then they all posed together. Okan goes through his whole speech. And yeah, the Empire just comes off like a star act as a trio, like you were saying earlier. Just a very, very good post-match here. And they just have a totally different vibe to them from the other heel units. I mean, Suzuki-gun at this point are like, more and more. Suzuki-gun are so popular that it's almost kind of ridiculous to keep them as a heel unit. They're kind of doing that, but I mean, they're also like Dangerous Tekkers also work babyface in half their matches during the tag league. So I think there might be some signs that they might be going to like more of a neutral position. And then Bullet Club are obviously just all about the bullshit and all about cheating and run-ins and interference. And so far, Empire is, a much more different unit. They're just very serious. They are, more like, I don't know, like lawful evil versus chaotic evil. So it's just very, very different vibe.
All About the Bullshit has the ring of an excellent T-shirt for Bullet Club. So you should try to pitch that to somebody.
All About the Bullshit. That is Bullet Club's motto. But yeah, the Empire is much more just much more straightforward. So I don't know if you feel any differently about that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm glad that they have Oka and Cobb now, just because Ospreay is annoying to me when he's given too much FaceTime, which is the point, right?
Yeah, he's
supposed to be annoying, which accomplishes something. But I don't watch wrestling to be annoyed, right? So it ends up happening anyway. But I think they're headed in the right direction for sure.
Yeah. Cobb and Okan have really they have really hit for me like a really strong presentation. There's a great little moment it was very subtle at the end, but when Yoda Tsuji, I guess, was coming in to try to help Tanahashi, and Cobb made a little motion like, be my guest, like, go ahead, help him. Like, that was really funny to me. I think that really summed up the vibe they're going for. Like, they're almost like gentleman heels or something. So it's a very different vibe than, like I said, we get from Bullet Club or for, like I know Joel Abraham from Super J-Cast was working on the alignment chart, and, he put, like, Suzuki-gun as like lawful neutral, or no, chaotic neutral, and, like the D&D style alignment chart, and, Suzuki-gun is chaotic neutral, Empire is lawful evil, and Bullet Club is, chaotic evil, which that kind of makes sense, I guess. But, LIJ, I guess, would be chaotic good at this point, and
I don't get the reference.
Yeah, I don't play D&D, but I've seen these charts before, so. But yeah. Anyway, if you want to go like a simple left to right scale, like where left is face and right is heel, I would put Empire at this point like to the right of Suzuki-gun, but still like to the left of Bullet Club. I think that is probably where they fit in right now. But yeah, it's really fun just to have a new unit. I think New Japan's needed this for years, honestly, and it really does make things feel more fresh in general. So,
yeah, I wonder what they're going to do with, the juniors. Are they going to add a junior in? It seemed like maybe they were going to get Eagles at some point, but we'll see.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if Yo isn't going to come back and join them. That seems, because I think he should be back sometime in early 2021 based on the timeline. So
I remember thinking it would be like right around Super Juniors next year when it originally happened.
I could have sworn it was going to be February or March, but you could be right. That would be more like May. So yeah, you'd think they would need one before that, but I don't know. If it's February or March, they could probably hold out, but I don't know. I just have it like in my head. I picture Yo coming back. Like, to me, there's 0 point to bringing Roppongi 3K back, because I think they were already on their last run before.
They're past that now. Yeah.
So Sho is definitely going to be a junior singles guy, and Yo will come back. I think turn on him. Maybe even on the return, he'll turn on him, and then that'll start the big generational rivalry. So it should be a lot of fun. The one thing I want to bury though was in the post match promos where Okada, had to fucking bring up the IWGP title and basically said, the people who are complaining about the current title picture, it's up to me to, after I beat Ospreay, to come back and make it right. It's like, buddy, your fucking matches since the summer have fucking sucked. I would rather watch 1,000,000 Naito Evil matches before I watch another one of your goddamn money clip matches. You were in the worst feud of the entire year in New Japan with Yujiro. Granted, it's Yujiro, but like, I wouldn't be talking if I was you. Like, that was my reaction. It's like, wow, I really hate this character, and this promo really reminded me of why I hate this character so much. It's like, you're unreasonably confident talking down to the heavyweight title picture when your year fucking sucked. So, that is my rebuttal, sir.
Yeah, not much I can add to that. I mean, you definitely you have the investment there, which is, I guess, one of the bigger picture points that I wanted to talk about. So I think this is a good time because you are obviously invested in it. Is that I just don't feel invested in any of the particular programs. While I think they're all good, I'm not like attached to any of them, which I feel like does kind of hamper my overall enjoyment of the company. But that's not really a criticism of what they're doing, because I think I'm in the minority.
Well, there are definitely other people who are like completely checked out now, but I don't know. I have to wait at the. I don't think you're totally in the minority, but it depends on, some people are more into it than others, that is for sure. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up for the Okada thing, because that promo really pissed me off. So I was not happy with him after that one. Because it's also like, we know that you're going to be back in the title picture soon, buddy. We know this is like the absolute maximum amount of time they can keep you out of the title picture. But
who is he speaking to? Just his diehards, if they exist, I guess?
I guess so. I mean, I guess he's speaking to people who have tuned out. He's basically saying he thinks people have tuned out from the company, which maybe they have. There is some little signs that there are some Japanese fans that maybe aren't paying close attention to it right now. They lost some Twitter followers on the Japanese account, although they lost the followers right after Power Struggle, so that speaks more to them being mad about the Jay White finish, beating up Bushi, and then the double dome like booking, because they were like fans on Twitter, Japanese fans were really mad about the double dome booking, and specifically they were complaining a lot about Naito, Ibushi being night one and White getting the winner. Like there were a lot of complaints about that, so they did not like that booking at all, and there was like a major backlash. So I wouldn't really call that could have been what Okada was referring to, but he's also buried like the Naito evil stuff and like the idea of like I think he called it like the LIJ riot or something, or the LIJ revolt. He said, do you find this interesting? Oh, I don't find this interesting. Which I'm sure it seems to me like he's speaking for a lot of Western fans more than Japanese fans. But anyway, so I don't know who he's talking to. It could have been any of that, or what he's speaking to, I guess I should say. But I'm sure not in a hurry to see, especially fucking Money Clip Okada back in the main events anytime soon. So you can have fun chilling with Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom. Gonna enjoy every day where he's not back in the IWGP heavyweight title scene. But we all know you're gonna be back there eventually, buddy. It's not you don't have to fucking tell us. Match 3 was Shingo Takagi and Sonata beating Evil and Yujiro in a time not given here on the New Japan website. Thank you guys. Shingo pinned Yujiro with the Last of the Dragon. I don't think it was long though. I think it was like 10 minutes.
Japanese website has 4 minutes 58 seconds.
It was that fast, really? Wow. Well, there you go. So Shingo and Yujiro were fighting on the ring to start. Evil and Sonata were fighting on the outside. Dick Togo choked him with the spoilers choker. Sonata needs to ask Yoshihashi for some tips on how to break out of it by himself, I guess. Because they buried that spoilers choker so bad during the tag league with like I said, I joke with Yoshihashi, but like Yoshihashi broke out of it by himself. Like tons of people broke out of that fucking thing without any help. And it's like, to me now, it almost makes anybody else who gets caught in it look bad. Because it's like everybody was breaking out of it all tag league long. But yeah, Shingo comes out to save, then gets double teamed by Evil and Yujiro and sent back to the ring. And then Shingo really takes it to Yujiro in the ring with his usual offense. Puts him away without any real trouble. Not much of the match. I went 2 3/4 again. Just a Shingo squash. I mean, watching him beat the shit out of Yujiro was fun. I didn't even realize it was that short, though. That's kind of crazy. But,
Yeah, nothing huge, stood out to me other than the Sonata Evil stuff that they set up.
Yeah, so the Sonata Evil angle, was the big thing here that caused some controversy, I guess, on Twitter, where the Voices of Wrestling account quote tweeted it with like 3 yawns and people got mad. The angle was awesome, I thought. Sonata's punches were very bad. I will say that. Sonata's punches were quite bad. But the way he was tossing the Young Lions out when they tried to stop him, and he pushes Shingo down and goes after Evil some more in the aisleway. That got this huge surprise reaction from the crowd. Huge for the COVID era, I guess I should say. And they really were reacting to this, and they were really into it. And then Dick Togo tries to get involved. Sonata knocks him down without much effort, and then he and Evil just keep trading blows as they fight to the back. I thought that was a great angle. Even if you can't stand either guy, which I know a lot of Western fans can't stand either guy, and, I guess what Rich from VOW was, quote, tweeting that with the yawns, he was just trying to say he thought the match is still going to be boring for Wrestle Kingdom, not saying anything about the angle. But the angle was awesome. The angle, just seeing Sonata show some fire for once, and, really go after Evil, and I just thought that was a way hotter angle than I was expecting for this match.
So out of character for Sonata, and that's why I think it got the reaction. So, good. It was good to me. I can't really see myself looking forward to anything Evil does, really. So, can't say I'm excited there, but I thought the angle was good.
I mean, if you're gonna have a match, the match was happening no matter what. They might as well have a cool angle. That's how I look at it. But I am a little more excited for Sonata Evil, I guess. But I do generally like both guys, but, it's not even then it's not like I'm fucking counting down the days or anything, but I did think it was a good angle, so, can't really ask for much more than that, and they did make the challenge more official backstage. The other angle, too, was Jeff Cobb showing up out of nowhere to confront Shingo. The two of them went face-to-face, the crowd seemed pretty into it, And then, Cobb, of course, had pinned Shingo during the tag league on the last block night, I believe. And then Cobb picked up the Never belt and handed it to Shingo. So Cobb, holds onto the belt. Shingo, for some reason, does this really funny laugh. I don't know what he was like, I can't even do it, but it was, very exaggerated, ha, ha, ha. I'm like, what are you laughing about? And then, Cobb, won't let go of the belt, and then he pulls Shingo in for Tour of the Islands. That was a great spot.
So, I love that. I thought what it reminded me of is something we haven't seen from Shingo in so long, is, his Dragon Gate heel instincts. Because he's kind of playing the middle here in New Japan for the most part. But I thought it was great timing, great heel instincts really from Shingo. Just the body language and the reaction that it got. Yeah.
And then Cobb poses with the belt over Shingo, shoves it in his face, throws it back to him, and that was it. So another strong angle here for another Wrestle Kingdom match. So definitely have to... And that should be a really good match. I'm excited for that one.
Definitely.
Afterward, we get an announcement that the 2021 anniversary show will be held in Budokan Hall on March 4th. The announcement really stressed that the 2021 got canceled, but because remember that was that was one of the very first shows to get canceled.
It was supposed to be Naito or Hiromu, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Naito Hiromu, which they've never rescheduled. So,
Yeah, I mean, I did see some pushback on Twitter from Japanese fans that it's no longer at the venue that they started at, which is Ota, and it's no longer on the date of the anniversary. So again, maybe the traditional fans pushing back there a little bit, but I can't be upset about another Budokan show. So
yeah, I mean it's a beautiful building. So I mean they're clearly taking full advantage of booking it when I assume it's probably cheaper. So
for sure, yeah.
But yeah, there you go. That'll be March 4th. Match number 4. Kota Ibushi and Master Wato defeating Tetsuya Naito and Bushi. Ibushi pinning Bushi in 10:06 with the Kamigoe. So we start out here with so Ibushi was smiling and clapping for Naito as he came out. Ibushi comes off sometimes like he's practically Naito's fanboy. It's a very weird relationship the two of them have, where they they'll go from talking shit to each other to acting like they love each other to of course killing each other. Very weird relationship. Naito seems to be trying to get the fans to clap out a Tenzan chant for some reason. He was more focused on Tenzan than anything else in this match, which was funny. Which they actually have a weird history together where Naito always seems to go after Tenzan whenever they're around each other for some reason. I really don't know if there's any good reason for that, but he always goes after him really hard.
Yeah, I think Naito was Tenzan's personal assistant, as they call it, his personal young boy, as when he was in the dojo. So I think that's where that comes from.
So he always loves to go at him. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So he won't lock up with Ibushi at first. Kicks him in the gut. Leads straight to an elbow exchange. Pretty good elbow exchange. And then Naito finally rakes his eyes. Does the amazing mock Mongolian chop that Naito does. Where I don't know the things he does with his arms over and over again. Just the faces he makes always makes me laugh really hard. It's a great mock Mongolian. But
yeah, I mean, I like it too. I don't have super strong thoughts on it, but I think, I think that goes into that relationship between Naito and Tenzan too.
Yeah, and then they end up in a pretty quick exchange with Ibushi, or Naito does obviously. That ends with a big Kota dropkick. Fun start. Wato tags in, looks bigger than Naito. Always funny when you remember that Naito's very junior sized, and it's one of those things where when people talk about Hiromu's too small to ever be heavyweight, I'm they'll fucking move him up if they want to move him up. It's not gonna. They move Naito up, and Naito is definitely a junior. But yeah, he wipes out Naito with kicks. Naito and Bushi come back with a nice double team sunset flip basement drop kick. Naito then goes after Ibushi on the outside and whips him in the railing, and then he does the mock Mongolian chops to Wato. Wato gets to wipe out Naito with a spinning dive to the floor. I have to say, Wato with these spinning dives, okay. Sometimes he hits them perfect. Sometimes perfectly. Sometimes he hits them where he overshoots his target so badly that he either almost kills himself or his opponent. Here he almost killed his opponent. He landed right on Naito's fucking head as they went down. I'm that is not where you should have been aiming, sir. Like, you're supposed to aim for, like, his body, for him to catch you. Not supposed to crush his head into the floor out there. It's not good.
Yeah, he's had, not too much consistent, he hasn't been too consistent with his high spots since he's come back. Tiger Mask posted a video of him training kicks with Kawato today, and I think that's a good place for him to focus for now.
But yeah, it's like, now to be clear, it's, this, at least, I mean, you could be like, oh, well, Naito, of all people, shouldn't be getting landed on like that. Right before Naito got landed on like that, he was like, how am I going to bump for this springboard elbow by Master Wato, a low-card junior, in this meaningless tag team match? I'm going to land right on my neck. That's what I'm going to do. So that's what Naito does on his own. So he doesn't really need Wato's help to land on his head and neck. He just does it more than enough on his own. But,
yeah, that's his go-to right
now. This is pretty good. I went 3.25. Nothing you're gonna like remember super well or love or anything, but some fun stuff here. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, so I didn't watch most of the tour, but to me it seemed like the bulk of the stuff they were doing, they had a lot of reps with, which is, one of my criticisms of how they handle these tours now is that you see so many of the spots over and over again. But if you're saying that it was 3.5 stars or whatever, then I think it certainly served its purpose.
Yeah, I went 3.25 on this one, but pretty good. Pretty good. Our semi-main event was in the World Tag League 2020 final. Tanga Loa, the Gorillas of Destiny, the second place in the league, defeating FinJuice, the first place when Tanga pinned Juice in 22-15 with the Super Powerbomb. So GOD finally win their first World Tag League on something like their 5th try, I think. So, and they've been to like 3 finals before this. So, I mean, it was a long time coming for them. Of course, it came with a lot of bullshit, as we'll talk about. But yeah, it was definitely like the last major achievement for them as a team after they've won the IWGP tag team titles like 1 million times and are actually approaching the days record, I think, or something. Which is
I had no idea that they had never won the World Tag League before.
Yeah, they had lost, I believe, 3 different times. I can look this up in 2 seconds. Let me see. World Tag League.
Maybe Honma and Makabe once.
Yeah. Let me see.
Maybe Finley and Juice one time.
Yeah, there was Finley and Juice last year. Okay, so they were the runners-up in... They didn't form yet in 2015. Okay, so 2016 it was, yeah, they were the runner. They lost to Makabe and Halma in 2016. 2017 they lost to Evil and Sonata.
Oh, okay.
2018 they lost to Evil and Sonata. So that was 3 years in a row where they lost in the final. And then last year they didn't make the final. It was Evil and Sonata losing to there was no final. Last year was where they just did the first place team would win. So they like they did in the real World Tag League this year with the in All Japan. So the de facto final, the match that ended up deciding it was Evil Sonata against FinJuice, which FinJuice won. But yeah, you
can tell I'm a big Evil guy because I remember the Makabe Honma match, but I forgot the 2 more recent finals that were both against Evil and Sonata.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, the match here obviously was their first time winning the World Tag League. I want to look real quick at the IWGP tag title, like how, because they're like ridiculously close to like an all-time record, which is pretty ridiculous. They've held these about 6 times, which is already insane. And I think that might already be the record. Actually, let me see. Most reigns. Let's see. Combined number of reigns for a team. Yes, they're already tied for the most reigns of all time with Tenkozy. So, okay. So it's the combined defenses record that they're closing in on. So they have 9 defenses combined. They're 1 behind Bad Intentions, who did it all in 1 reign. Their 1 reign, they had 10 defenses. They're 2 behind Kengo Kimura and Tatsumi Fujinami and Tenkozy, who both have 11 defenses. And they're 3 behind Choten, Tenzan and Chono, who had 12 defenses and 5 reigns. So they're actually not that close to the combined days, because they're at 607, and the record is again Choten at 1,010. So
I hope they don't get there.
yeah, me too. But yeah, the combined defenses they're close, and the number of reigns they're tied for the lead. They just need one more reign to break the all-time record. So, but anyway, so they are of course your new World Tag League winners. I thought they were going to win this. I predicted it because FinJuice beat them in the tag league, so I was like, okay, I think God are going to get their win back here. That's just not like having FinJuice win twice in a row is not normally how New Japan does things. So we'll have to see if it leads to just God versus Dangerous Techers, with the Techers as the faces, which they might do that because the Techers did get screwed by them in the tag league, which is the only reason why they weren't in the final. So they were saying a lot of stuff about, wanting revenge on them. Or it could be a three-way with FinJuice. Always very possible. Even though, Juice clearly had another match set up by the end here, but, there's 2 nights. They could just do one on one night, one the other night. So it could be a three-way with FinJuice still. But yeah, so Jado seems to mess up towards the start of the match, and it was so weird. He casually grabbed on Juice's leg when he hits the ropes in front of him. I didn't even look like much of a trip, but it was right in front of the ref. And for once, Marty Asami's kicking you out. I'm just like, what? I've seen guys do way worse in front of you, and you do nothing. But he had the young Lions drag him to the back. I was like, okay, that's very, very interesting, I guess. So we got a very energetic Juice comeback just before and after the 10-minute mark. Big planche to the floor on Tonga Loa. And then Jado comes waddling back out when Juice has Thomas set up with a Pulp Friction. And that distracts Marty long enough for Tonga to come in and hit him with another kendo stick, different than the one Jado has in his hand, for a few times, which leads to a near fall. Now, why Marty Asami doesn't get the young Lions to tell them, drag Jado back out of here again, I have no idea. Doesn't really make any sense, but he doesn't do that. So, we get a... Oh, sorry, you want to add something?
Yeah, I guess this is a good point to bring up my other contention that I'm sure has been discussed at length, but I think it's just really... This match, it would have been a lot better if it weren't for all the referee involvement in the match. And it's not even just ref bumping, which I know gets a lot of credit. It's just have a match, right? There's already 4 people in this match. You don't need to have the ref being so involved in it. It wears on me. I can't, because it comes up in almost every match at some point. Like you said, they're all about the bullshit. So yeah, it just really, even in the main event, there was some ref stuff that it was really, is that necessary? And I don't know, maybe I'm just getting grumpy in my old age, but it just really rubs me the wrong way when it's done so over the top and so frequently.
Well, you're definitely not the only one. I don't know. I feel like my counter argument to this is I honestly do not know if they're doing it more often. Because I was really thinking about this, and I'm like, to me, there's always one unit that's doing a lot of interfering. Do you remember that year in 2017 when Minoru Suzuki had that terrible Never title reign where Suzuki-gun ran on every single fucking match and everybody hated it? I feel like I'm going crazy sometimes when I hear people talk about how much more interference New Japan is doing. I'm like, they've always had a lot of interference. It's always what they do is they just designate one unit at a time, and it's you're the interference unit, you're going to have a lot of run-ins, nobody else will do it. That seems to be... Oh, I lost JoJo. I assume we'll come right back while I'm in the middle of my rant.
I'm still here.
Okay. Oh, that was
I think we lost the other me.
The other you. But yes, so they always designate one unit as the run-in unit. There was a time where LIJ was the run-in unit when they first formed, that they stopped doing it after, Dominion 2016. There was a time when Suzuki-gun was the run-in unit, and they had a ton of run-ins and all their stuff, whether it was in Noah or New Japan, honestly, and then they largely stopped doing it. And now Bullet Club is the big run-in unit, which they have been in the past too. So I don't know. I kind of feel like there's always been a lot of bullshit, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy.
It's not just the run-ins to me, right? I think it's just the treatment of referees.
That's fair.
And that they just don't seem like an authority in the ring, which, I really sound like a grumpy old guy at this point, but there has to be some sort of basically it continues to remind me that, hey, this is not for you. This is not for you every time it happens, just because it takes me out of the flow of the match. Now, the run-in, we haven't talked about it yet, but Kenta's run-in this match I thought was excellent. I think it added a lot. It got a huge reaction.
Yeah.
So run-ins, I'm not against. I just think that when you continue to undermine the refs, it wears on the grumpy old fan, I guess is my thesis.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I just wanted to push back on the run-ins because I feel like a lot of people have been pushing this in the last 3 or 4 months, and it makes me wonder what they were watching during those Suzuki matches and stuff. Because to me, they've always been a lot of run-ins in this company. But
yeah, run-ins are not my problem. It's just the referee has no authority and it doesn't seem like it's an actual person. Right? It just seems like it's just like a prop, basically.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So yeah, that pisses me off. But anyway.
So God sets Juice up for the Super Power Bomb. Juice counters with a huge mid-air Rana. That was awesome. Tonga Loa took quite a bump for it too. Tonga Loa, I banged on that drum, but he is now better than his brother, which is so weird to me because he was quite bad when he first started out, but he's actually good now. It's very weird. I guess he just worked with all these guys long enough. I don't know. He's good at what he's good at. He's a pretty good wrestler.
Yeah, and when he came in, we thought that Tama was kind of on the trajectory to become a good singles wrestler. And I remember people were bummed out that now they kind of put his brother on his back. But I totally agree with you. Now he's a better wrestler.
Tama did take this. Take the stutter from Finley. He took an old school rock flying bump for that, which I thought was funny. He just went flying. Maybe a little too cartoony for New Japan, but it was funny.
I mean, I can't call anything cartoony with the treatment of the referees, so I'm good with it.
Juice and Finley hit the old school heart attack on Tama for a 2 count. Juice goes up top with the Doomsday Device, but Tonga Loa just fucking shoves him. That was Finley. Finley goes up top of the Doomsday Device, and Tonga just shoves him all the way to the floor, really hard. And then Juice, Jado comes in with the kendo stick. Juice catches it, threatens to hit him with it, but Kenta runs in out of nowhere, hits Juice over the head with the U.S. briefcase. And like you said, the crowd, audibly reacted to this, one of these, pops now where the crowd forgets they're not supposed to make noise because they're so shocked. So those are the best things in Puro right now. And then God gives Juice the Super Power Bomb that almost knocks Asami over, so that was good visual too. That is the pin. They have finally won the World Tag League. I actually really like this. It was a shade under 4 stars for me though. I mean, the logic of Jado being sent to the back and then just being allowed to stay after he came back is one of those little things that annoys me more than him just interfering throughout the match. So, I don't know, there's something there where, maybe it is almost what you said about the refs being too useless, but it's the ref finally showed some initiative, but then, never showed that initiative again when he came back out. It was very bizarre to me. I don't know why they bothered doing that. I guess the idea was to make you think Finjuice was going to win and then swerve you, but I don't know.
I think this was, like you said, almost an excellent match, right? I had it at the same rating.
You went to 3 3/4 too?
Yeah, just under 4. And I think that's a credit to how excellent Finjuice is as a tag team.
Yeah.
If they had more reps this year, I think they would be my tag team of the year. But just since they weren't there for so long, I couldn't do that. But yeah, I thought they were excellent in this match. I thought they were really good in their last match of the tour too. I think I would like to see them get more just 2, straight up tag matches. It seems like Juice is going to end up getting more singles, which I don't know what that means for Finley, but these guys I think are an excellent tag team and should be at some point the centerpiece of a good division.
Yeah, the division is the thing that really struck me watching the World Tag League is they can actually have a pretty good division now if they wanted to. I mean, they have enough good teams, but some of those guys are not going to be full-time tag team guys, I guess, so...
They just have never exhibited any willingness or any desire to have a good tag division.
Yeah, exactly.
But they have all the pieces. And, fucking David Finley, he has to be the most underrated wrestler in the world.
Yeah, I mean, he's high up there.
Yeah, so good.
He's really one of these guys where it's after this match where it's okay, Kenta gets Juice, obviously, or Juice gets Kenta, obviously, at the Dome. It's Finley had better not be in some fucking never 6-man gauntlet because he's too good for that at this point. So
yeah, I see Finley kind of. This is I don't know, just my internal perception of him. But I feel like if he was around 20 years ago, he would be like considered, an elite worker.
Yeah.
If he was working like Japan and the U.S. Indies, I feel like he would be, a favorite of, our group of fans, basically.
Yeah. But afterwards, so, like I said, I also went 3 3/4 on this. Really great, not quite 4 stars. The closing stretch was awesome. The Kento run-in was certainly unexpected. Set up a pretty enormous superpower bomb, so the finish worked for me. But yeah, Juice seemed to have been busted open by that shot with the briefcase. It sounded very loud too. He was like very mad backstage, and I honestly thought some of that promo energy was like not even just the kayfabe or acting. Maybe he just really got fucked up by that briefcase shot and was mad about it. But I don't know.
Yeah, he hit him really hard. I guess that was legit, but pretty brutal.
Kenta afterward comes in with a camera. He takes a picture of G.O.D. and Jado with the tag league trophies with a huge smirk on his face. That was just funny as hell. Kenta is like one of the best characters in all of wrestling at this point, which is kind of amazing. But
for sure. He posted the picture on Instagram too.
That's awesome. But yeah, we already talked about it. But yeah, Finlay better not be stuck with the fucking never 6-man gauntlet. He deserves better.
If they've got 2 shows, they got to be able to find him a match.
I think so too. The main event, Hiromu Takahashi defeats El Desperado in 30-14 with the Time Bomb 2. Hiromu Takahashi wins his second Best of Super Junior, the Best of Super Junior 27. This was incredible. I mean, this was... I'll go through it all. I mean, like, just... it's hard to even, like... It's one of these matches where, like, I don't even know what to say a little bit because... Like, so much of the match was, like, the energy and the magic to it that it's hard to really explain in audio. But, like, they went out there and, I mean, it's one of these times where I had very high expectations. Like, I specifically, once I realized this final was Hiromu and Despy, I decided not to open up voting for the New Japan Top 10 Match of the Year list that we do every year for the New Japan ebook. Because I like, deliberately waited till this match was over because I'm like, okay, well, this match could factor in. It sure hell did factor in because this was, I had very high expectations and they somehow still exceeded them. So, I mean, this is the best COVID era match I've seen, and I have to be clear that I haven't seen the Go Shiozaki versus Nakajima or the Go Shiozaki versus Sugiura matches yet that have gotten a lot of love. So, probably going to watch those this week. Just had no time with all these tournaments I've been covering. But yeah, this is the best COVID era match I've seen. This is the second best match of the year in New Japan or in the world, behind only Okada Naito. This is 5 stars. It's just an incredible match. So I will try to go through it and do as much justice as I can. But let's see here. Hiromu hands Milano a sketchbook. He's crossed out Desperado's entry, where I guess he said originally, like, I don't hate him anymore. Now it says, like, I hate him after all, right? That's the translation, I think.
I didn't see what he wrote in.
Okay.
That's what the original one said. I didn't see what he wrote in.
Yeah, I think it was I hate him after all, but I could be wrong. But yeah, Desperado, meanwhile, has a really cool new costume, almost like a Mirror Universe version. Like his mask and his tights are white with black trim instead of black with white trim. So
yeah, that's what it said. I can see. I'm looking at the website now. That's what the second. It's like you said. I don't hate him anymore, but of course, after all, I do hate him. Yeah, I mean, I think Hiromu's selling in general in this match was excellent. And just the way it was structured where Despy was basically in control for the bulk of the match, and Hiromu's offense was more or less, like, limited to these quicks, like...
Ziplining across a vast valley, roasting s'mores beside the lake, whitewater rafting, relaxing beside an ocean view pool. Well, trying to at least. There are lots of great things to dream about doing in South Carolina, so when you're ready to visit, South Carolina is ready to make those dreams a reality. From a classic road trip to a relaxing weekend getaway, South Carolina is open for discovery. Start planning today at discoversouthcarolina.com.
Still paying hundreds of dollars for prescription glasses? Let's change that. At Zenni.com, our factory direct model means no middlemen or outrageous markups. Just the same quality frames and lens options as the other guys for 1/10 the price. Zenni offers prescription glasses starting at $6.95, as well as affordable sunglasses blue blockers, and more. The best part? Try any frame, anywhere, with our 3D virtual try-on. Visit Zenni.com today and change the way you buy glasses forever.
Throwing these quick bombs.
Yeah.
So I think that, that element of the structure was just excellent.
Desperado. Oh, first Hiromu gives Desperado a this hard wheelbarrow slam on the outside. That looked like it was nasty. And then Desperado back in the ring goes for the stretch muffler for the first time. Hiromu rolls it off almost immediately. Despy tries to charge Hiromu in the corner, but Hiromu hits one of the biggest overhead belly-to-bellies in the corner. It was crazy. Hiromu goes for the time bomb for the first time. Desperado counters it almost with a schoolboy, but instead of going for the pin, he goes right into the stretch muffler. Hiromu, like you said, his selling here is incredible. He screams his way over the ropes fairly quickly, but truly awesome selling from him, as you'd probably expect. And then there was the one moment of the match where, you had to ask, was that a botch or is Hiromu just that insane, or both? So Hiromu goes for the sunset flip powerbomb to Desperado to the floor. He completely misses him. He just jumps right through it and eats shit on the floor. I think this was a botch because he runs right back up instead of selling it to grab Despy on the apron. But they think so fast and have Desperado kick him back hard to the railing that, to me, it doesn't take anything away from the match. And, if the point was supposed to be he was supposed to go for the sunset flip and not get it, and Despy was supposed to kick him back on the railing, it really doesn't detract from the match at all. In fact, it adds to it because he takes this ridiculous bump off this missed sunset flip. It just another crazy bump in this match. So
I think it was a mistake, but I think it added to the match too.
Yeah.
But I think that just speaks to how much on the same page they are, but also it completely plays into who Hiromu is, right? Not only was he getting overwhelmed in the match at this point, but that's his offense, right? He takes risks, and that time the risk didn't pay off. So I thought that was, yes, a botch, but definitely added to the match.
Desperado then grabs one of his tag belts. When Red Shoes is distracted by that, he tosses it to the side, and then he beats the shit out of Hiromu's leg with a chair again, just like he did back at Korakuen, so a great call back there. And then he locks him in the stretch muffler, again, just like he beat him with that at Korakuen in their Best of Super Junior match. Hiromu keeps trying to make it to the ropes. Desperado rolls him back to the center, and then Hiromu somehow stands up out of it and turns it into a fucking Canadian destroyer. I fucking jumped out of my chair for this. It's almost too goofy, but the way they pulled it off, it really worked for me. I was just fucking going crazy for that.
Yeah, you have to put your does this make sense hat aside for a second and just take it in as just being an awesome spot.
Yeah.
Because that it doesn't make sense, like you said. It is goofy in my opinion, but it looks so cool that so cool and so super creative, right? I don't think I've ever seen that before. So again, definitely a good spot.
Despy then pushes Hiromu into Red Shoes in the corner, punches him right in the nuts. But when he goes to pick Hiromu back up to his feet, Hiromu hits a Desperado style straight right hand to the face. That was again awesome. Just a great moment in their little feud. And then, obviously, the sequence of the entire match, he starts ripping Desperado's mask off. Sadly, I was spoiled on that before it happened. I wish I had not known that was going to happen. Before I saw it happen, I should say. But the live fans are so stunned, they get this one of their biggest reactions of the COVID era. And then Desperado is in a kneeling position with half his mask ripped off. He just stares up at Hiromu okay, fucker, that's what you want to do? He stands up. He voluntarily takes the rest of his mask off. The crowd at this point is losing their shit. And Desperado gives him a look. He smiles. He points his finger out don't forget you asked for this. And he just starts going buck wild on with these slaps right to the face. Hiromu goes crazy back. We got the 25-minute call. They're Despy goes for his own straight punch. Hiromu goes for his own enormous counter slap that rocks him. They're rolling around the mat going crazy. And then Desperado does get the punch out of nowhere. Just an incredible sequence. I saw someone, I'm not going to call him out by name, some other podcaster who was oh, this was just a normal junior match other than the mask spot. First of all, bullshit is the first thing I have to say to that. Bullshit. It was the rest of this match was awesome too. But what the hell kind of critique is that? If you take out the greatest moment in the match, that they've built up to with these two characters for a fucking decade, basically, since they were both young lions, that it's just another match. Like, what is that? Like, how is that a fucking critique? Like, if you take out the best moment in a lot of matches, they're not going to be as good. Like, what a stupid fucking critique that was. You know what? I'll call them out. It was the Grapple Podcast. What a stupid take, guys, if you're listening to this. They're probably not listening, but it was a stupid take.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the moment of the match, definitely the moment of the show, by all accounts, the moment of the entire tour, and honestly, the moment of Despy's fucking career to this point.
Yeah!
So
it would be like being like, oh, you know,
like it didn't happen.
It'd be like, oh, you know, that, I don't know, that, I can't think of a good, I was going to say, like, Hogan slamming Andre wasn't that big a deal, but, like, that match does suck. But, I mean, you know, it's still a big, big fucking moment. You can't just take the biggest moment out of a match and then say the match wasn't that good if you take the biggest moment out of a match. Just, like, that's not critique. That's just, you clearly don't want to like something, so you're making up excuses not to like it at that point. I don't know. It's just that's just insane to me. But
yeah, that's not a good critique.
Yeah.
I think, you know, at this point in the match, they had gotten to where they wanted to get, and they did it pretty much as perfectly as you could do it, apart from, you know, a couple of little miscues that one of them I think added to the match. And the other thing was, at this point, like, you kind of felt, and this is part of the story too, so you can't really critique it either, that Despy had basically controlled more or less the entire match. And then from this point, the thing that disconnects from me is if Despy loses his mask, he should get somewhat of a boost from that, right? But he just kind of fades out. So I guess they're just telling the story that Hiromu ends up, after all, being the strongest junior, and Despy can't overcome him. But at this point, like, so basically, I think Despy should have won the match, and that's what hurt it a little bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea was, yeah, I thought my read on it was, I thought the idea was that after this happened, he lost his cool and wasn't able to recover. He got desperate. Yeah, and wasn't able to recover it, and wasn't able to get back to the strategy he had. So, because he never goes out to the leg again.
Then why take it off yourself?
Well, I just
he didn't see that being a possible outcome of doing it. It's just so silly.
I guess he was just so angry. I don't know. That's what I thought. Because, like, he looks at him like, fuck you, basically. Like, okay, you want to do this, and I'm going to beat the shit out of you. But that wasn't his strategy in the match. The strategy was going after the leg. So I think...
So Hiromu got into his head, basically.
That's how I read it. Like, when he tore out that mask. So...
Yeah, that's fair.
Desperado goes for the Pinche Loco. Hiromu counters and spins him into a huge headbutt. Leaves both guys down. Hiromu hits I believe it's called Victory Royale, that suplex facebuster thing he does now.
That shit was awesome.
It's a great move.
Yeah, I jumped out of my seat for that.
He goes for Time Bomb 2. Desperado lands behind him. He gets that, I don't remember what it's called, it's his signature cradle, for ridiculously close near fall. That was like the second best one of the match. I mean, the near fall was so close, and Desperado is like fucking pounding the mat. Like, God damn it, this was my best chance. I had him. It was like such a great moment.
And not only that, but I don't have anything left. Like, this was it. I put all my eggs in this basket after I thought that I had won previously.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this point, he's just like complete desperation and frustration.
Yeah, he's like breaking down, basically. It was just a great character work. Hiromu goes for a lariat. Desperado catches his arm, goes for Pinche Loco. Hiromu counters that into the running Death Valley driver into the exposed corner, which I forgot they exposed that corner. I didn't even take it down in my notes. So
it's like the first minute of the match.
Yeah, basically. I totally forgot they did that. So when he ran in there and like I saw the corner was exposed, I was like, oh shit. And Desperado sells us like he just got fucking murdered. So again, just perfect. Hiromu hits,
and his back started bleeding a little bit.
That's true. Yeah. Hiromu hits the time bomb. Desperado kicks out at 2. Crowd just cannot stop reacting at this point. They've forgotten there's a deadly virus. Desperado like lays there on the mat. He knows he's done. Just amazing. I thought amazing facial expression from him. Like you can just tell he knows he's done. And Hiromu picks him up, gives him the spinning brainbuster, which I don't know if he ever does that before, really, or he's ever done that before.
Like a spinning victory royale.
Yeah, sort of. So I guess it's like maybe it's like an ultimate royale or something.
Yeah.
We got the 30-minute call. Hiromu picks him up and gives the time bomb 2 for the win. I mean, I saw some people say they thought the finish was like, anticlimactic or something, but I thought this was perfect. I mean, Desperado was essentially done for the first time bomb. He kicked out because he was able to kick out, but instead of doing like, they could have done more counters or whatever, which is almost the house style, but I thought it made way more sense for the story they told for Homer to be like, well, hit my move, or hit like 2 more like super moves, and that's it. So I thought this was perfect. I don't know if you're one of the people that wanted more like counters here or anything, but
So I'm gonna go back and watch it again because your enthusiasm has wanted me to give it one more shot. And to be fair, I gave it 4.5 stars, which
you hated it. You hated it.
For me, puts it in my top 10 pretty much for sure because I don't throw out 4.5 stars very often. But to me, my criticism was that like Despy just destroyed him in 90% of the match. And then there was that flip where all of a sudden Hiromu's like one of his bombs that he's throwing finally connects enough for him to for Despy to realize that he has no chance to win anymore. So yeah, that's I guess just a minor criticism at this point. But yeah, totally one of the best matches of the year, no matter how you slice it. Definitely not a normal junior match with one memorable spot. Like you said.
I know it's such a crazy critique. I don't.
I mean, even if you put it, as not a surefire match of the year, but a contender, it's still one of the best Super Junior finals ever. If you're in your camp, then it's probably the best Super Junior final ever.
It's like right there with me to the Taiji and Hiromu one. I also won 5 on. So
yeah. So an incredible end to a shitty year, I would say.
Yeah.
For New Japan, really.
I don't think the year was shitty. I thought it was fine, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, and I guess that plays into how much you liked the Naito Okada match.
I mean, we're gonna talk about this when we do our New Japan year in review, which might have a whole bunch of guests. It's not 100% confirmed yet, but I thought the year was I would say good. It wasn't like an all-time great year. I definitely preferred 2018, and I will take that to my grave. Because I don't think anything in this year was as bad as the Bullet Club Civil War. But I don't know. I get why people didn't like it, but it definitely was not a bad year to me, at least. And there's enough stuff here that I really enjoyed it. And, like, one of these things where I'm like... So I'm doing these 2 awards, right? The Omakase Awards on Patreon and the Omakase Awards for guests. So guests can vote, and then also patrons can vote. New Japan is running away with Best Promotion in the Patron Awards.
Really?
So it's destroying the competition.
Oh, in the Patron Awards, okay.
Yeah. It's up there in the Guest Awards so far, too. It's, it's a lot more close, but I think it's winning right now. It's very close, but I think it is winning. But the Patron Awards, I mean, it is 21 points ahead of the next best promotion. So, it's got 8 first-place votes out of... let me say, 16 people have voted so far, I think. So, like, half the people have said it's first place. And only, I think, 3 people out of the people that voted so far haven't given it at least second or third. So, I mean, this idea that, like, people, all Western Hero fans or whatever hated New Japan's year, it's not, like... It's not really in reality, as far as I can tell. There definitely are people.
And when I say shitty year, I don't mean that they haven't had good matches and it hasn't been worthwhile to follow, because it has. I guess my critique was that the highest end matches that I've seen this year did not take place in New Japan for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. For me, this and Okada Naito are still the best 2 matches I saw. So.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah.
Watch those 2 Shiozaki matches, though.
I will. I definitely will. I mean, I have Kaito go from 1-4 at 4 3/4 as my number 3 match of the year. But
okay, well,
it was my number 2 before this, but this beat.
Okay,
this
then definitely watch them.
Yeah, but yeah. So these to wrap up this match, I guess. I mean, these 2 insane people just went balls to the wall. Pretty much the opening bell for 30 straight minutes. They worked in all sorts of little callbacks to prior matches. Desperado tried some of his cheating bullshit. Kind of abandoned it, which that was an interesting one to me, where, like, I don't know, he tried it twice and then he never really went back to it again. And, I would love to know if it was supposed to be some kind of, like, respect for Hiromu that he ultimately couldn't do it at the end, or if he just, like, was caught up in getting, like you said, taking all these bombs and stuff. But I thought that was interesting that he kind of abandoned the cheating bullshit. It makes you wonder if he isn't kind of like leaning face like some Suzuki-gun guys seem to be.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I guess it's just like how we're interpreting it. But maybe it's also like he got overconfident where he thought he didn't need to cheat to win because he thought he was, pretty much on path to do it.
Yeah. The mask ripping spot was incredible. I wish to God I hadn't already seen, like, I had to post an Omakase thing Friday morning, and I totally forgot that, like, it would, I would see, like, some Voice of Wrestling accounts and some other accounts, and I saw Desperado's face unmasked. I was like, fuck! I wish I hadn't seen that. I really wish I could have seen that without, seen it happen, the match without already knowing it happened. But it was incredible.
To me, like, obviously the mask spot was really cool, but just as a side comment, like, in the past, he's had some crazy hairstyles.
Yeah.
Like blonde cornrows or whatever, shaving the back and the sides. But now he's like ready for a fucking job interview. What the hell's with his haircut?
Yeah, he was like, he did look very normal in his hair there. Yeah. He's one of these guys where it's like, well, he took the mask off. It's like, wow, why are you in a mask? I don't really get it. Like, he looks like Naruki Doi, which Rich Craich also pointed out, I should say.
The hair.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, he looks very... It was a very, like, he's a very good-looking man, I guess. I don't know where else I'm going with this. He doesn't need to be under... With Desperado, obviously that spot was incredible. And, the masking was almost like the two of them going full circle, back to Hiromu and Kyosuke Mikami. Although, like, Desperado, when he came backstage, like, he very forcefully said there are only two people in that ring tonight, Hiromu and El Desperado, and walked away, which I thought that was a great little statement by him. Basically saying, I'm still not Kyosuke Mikami. But, it's maybe this isn't the end of the story, but definitely feels like a satisfying end to this, 2020 chapter. Yeah, okay, so we had a little audio difficulty, but I was just saying that, this was a satisfying end, I thought, to their 2020 chapter, even though it probably isn't the end of their story. I've made this point a few times on different platforms, but, like, as for as much shit as New Japan's booking has gotten this year, and again, plenty of it deserved. I've complained about stuff too. Some of it not deserved. Plenty of it deserved. I do think the way they booked this whole junior fall, whatever you want to call it, this Desperado Hiromu fall, was pretty much perfect. I mean, they did the junior tag league final and the junior tag title match where, like, you're wondering what the hell are they doing? Why is Hiromu and Bushi losing to Desperado and Kanemaru twice in a row? Why is Desperado pinning Hiromu? It came off like really weird, but not, I wouldn't say bad, but just like you didn't really see where they were going with it. And then they go to the Best of Super Junior. Desperado beats him again. And then finally they get here, the Budokan final, and you can see it and looking back like, oh, this is what they were building to all fall, throughout the entire fall, but it wasn't obvious until we got here. So that's like the best kind of build, to me anyway, like where it's logical, it makes sense, but it wasn't super fucking obvious from the moment it started. So,
yeah, I mean, there's some parallels between this and the Naito Evil feud. Just, in the kind of the sum of the different, phases in it. Not necessarily the order, right? Because Evil obviously got his big win in the beginning. But, yeah, I just wonder, like, if it's the same person pulling the strings in this division as it is in the heavyweight division, and can those two people get together and have a better result in the heavyweight division too?
Yeah. But yeah, I thought this was a incredible way to end. Again, 5-star match. I said that at the start, but for me it's 5. I put it below Okada Naito, just below it. So my number 2 match of the year, and I thought it was an incredible way to end what ended up being a damn good Best of Super Juniors. I mean, it was really carried by Hiromu in particular. I mean, I did the top 10 matches in the last episode, and I think he's in my, not even counting the final, I think he was in my top 6. So he had an awesome tournament. The tournament started slow. I mean, the first few nights, night 1 was good, the combined one. Like, I believe nights 2 and 3, like, there was like one Korakuen maybe through night 4 that was like kind of disappointing. But the back half of the tournament really, really picked up. And that, to me, is where this became a really good tournament. To me, it doesn't touch last year, but I never expected it to, with, half the participants and all the other COVID era, handicaps and stuff. But this was like a 7 or a 7.5 as a tournament overall, which I think is about as good as you could expect it from a half field, clap crowd era, tournament. Whereas like last year would have been like a 9 or 9.5 out of 10. So, but Hiromu afterwards apparently says he wants to fight the Super J Cup winner before he fights Ishimori. So I assume this is another 2-night thing they're doing. So Hiromu will fight whoever wins the Super J Cup. That is airing. I'm recording this at 9:13 p.m. on Saturday, so that's going to start airing at 10 p.m. So we're not covering that this week, obviously. Really, I don't think I'm covering that at all, honestly. But I'm going to watch it, I guess. But yeah, whoever that wins that, which I've seen a lot of speculation could be Leo Rush. He did talk a lot about wanting to come over to Japan and wrestle, and New Japan ran like a big interview with him saying that, so it could easily be him. But yeah, I assume Hiromu will face whoever the Super J Cup winner is on night 1, and the winner of that will face Taiji Ishimori for the junior title on night 2. So I have no problem with that.
Have you seen the promo video or the vignette that they have up for Leo Rush?
I didn't see that, no.
You have to watch that.
Okay. What was it?
It's really good. It's kind of like the one that they did for Moxley where he's like escaping the prison or whatever. Mm-hmm. Same vibe, but it's produced really well. Someone mentioned to me that it didn't come from New Japan. It was something that Leo Rush did on his own. But if you haven't seen that, and you haven't, definitely check it out.
He is such a weird guy, because it's like it's I don't even mean that in a bad way or anything. It's just like it's really weird to see him like talk about how his only goal now is to wrestle for New Japan, and it's such a weird path to go from. I mean, he's only 26 still, I think, and he went from being like on weekly television every week on Monday Night Raw as Bobby Lashley's like weird manager, and now he's like, I just want to wrestle in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's a very weird career path.
Yeah, I mean, for me, his entire career has basically taken place since I've been in Japan. So I don't even know that I've really seen a full match of his before. So I kind of know this, where he's been just from hearing and seeing, bits and pieces, but I've never seen him work a full match. So I'm excited to see what he brings.
Joe Lanza, who was like the only person watching 205 Live during that era, insists that he was really good on that show. So
cool.
Have to wait and see.
I mean, I personally would like to see ACH, back in the Tokyo Dome.
But it sounds like ACH has a GCW booking. Like
really?
New Year's Eve, yeah. So that might be why. I think that's why people are assuming it's not him. Because he'd have to do a 2-week quarantine still, so can't just fly in. But unless they've changed that, but I don't think they have.
There's caveats, but I think given his status, he would have to do it.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So overall, like we said, great show. Even if the main event was the only like truly awesome match, everything built up well here for Wrestle Kingdom.
Oh, I was just saying, definitely, like you said, a great show. But I think the overarching, final point I'd make is just that you don't have to watch the whole show, but you definitely have to watch the main event because it's one of the best matches of the year.
Yeah, ready. So let's move over to DDT. We went pretty long on New Japan, but
longer than I expected.
Yeah, we went pretty long. So we'll try to go through this a little quick. This was the DDT D-Ou Grand Prix Night 7, the final block night of the DDT Grand Prix. This was a really good show, I thought. I mean, not like show of the year or anything, but like compared to a lot of these tournament nights, other than the first one, really, this was easily the best one. So,
yeah, I didn't watch most of the tournament, so I don't really have a strong feeling on where it stacks up against the rest of the shows, but I will agree that almost every single, aside from one, I'd say all the league matches were at the worst.
I bet we have the same one.
Yeah, so everything was at the worst very good. Some excellent stuff. But let's get into it.
So the 3-way tag match, I did not watch this. I had to skip it for time reasons. My boss decided to bother me on a Saturday, so thank you to her. So I almost didn't watch the show in time. But yeah, so this was a 3-way tag. I usually do watch the undercard tags. I just didn't have time here. Mad Pauly and Nobuhiro Shibatani defeat Mizuki Watashi and Hideki Okatani and Yukio Naya and Keigo Nakamura when Shimatani pinned Nakamura after a combined body press at 8:13.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. The two things that stood out to me, just one superficial, was that Nia is getting into really good shape. I think he's, probably lost a considerable amount of weight since he first started in DDT. He hasn't really changed his work, so, he still has some work to do there. But and the other thing is that Shimatani looked really good, and he was the highlight of the match for me.
Alrighty. So now the tournament matches, they do these all in a row, like 3 B block matches in a row, then 3 A block matches in a row. The scheduled night off was Daisuke Sasaki in Block A. Of course, he's been out since the opening night, so this meant that A block finally got to have 3 tournament matches for the first time since night 1. Where there'd always be the scheduled Sasaki match would be skipped due to his injury. And then the B block night off was Kasada Higuchi, who had a way to make the final if a lot of things went his way in the B block matches. Unfortunately for him, they didn't. But he did have a way to force like a wacky tiebreaker because there's no... So they did this Champion Carnival style this year where they said going in that there would be no tiebreakers. Like there's no... if this guy beat that guy in the D-O, then they move on if they have the same points. This time they were going to do like a playoff match. It didn't end up coming into play at all. But that's what they said this year. So I guess they just said that to say it. I don't really know. But yeah, match number 2, the first tournament match, the first B block match. Shuma Katsumata defeats Soma Takao by countout in 10:05. Shuma went to 4 points. Soma stays at 6. Soma was alive here, so this eliminated him. He could have, if he won this match, he could have. Either forced a tiebreaker or even won the tournament outright if Endo and... No, actually, would have... If Endo had lost and if Akiyama and Ueno had gone to a draw, he would have... And he had won. He would have won the block, but he lost anyway. So, I'm guessing this is the match that you thought sucked, because I sure thought this sucked.
Yeah. This is the one. I mean, I gave it 2.5 stars, which...
You were way higher than me.
Sucked to me, but yeah, I mean, it had our beloved ref bump. It had interference. It had Legos, which is fine. It had more interference by Shimatani, who I mentioned being good in the opener a little while ago. They fought to the back, through the curtain. It had Soma getting taped up, which eventually led to a count out. But yeah,
I'm going to tell you why I hated this. First of all, the stuff before the bullshit started I thought was really dull. Like, Soma was, like, beating Shuma around ringside. He put him in a chin lock. It was like, okay. The ref bump was bad. The ref bump was kind of funny, actually, because Soma, like, kicked Shuma... Or Shuma kicked Soma into the ref off a roll-up. The ref was actually fine at first, and then Soma kicked him in even harder to actually bump him. That was kind of funny. But, the Lego stuff, whatever. But the fucking finish. So Shimatani gets involved. He accidentally hit Soma Takao with the aluminum tin in full view of the referee, who does nothing. So again, I understand DDT could be kind of jokey or whatever, but this is the fucking D-O. Like, there should be some consistency here. And why did they even bother bumping him earlier if Soma getting hit with this fucking thing was not going to be a DQ or anything? Doesn't make any sense. Even less sense, Soma, who I just mentioned, is alive to win his block, decides to follow Shimatani to the back, repeatedly hitting him with a fucking tin can because he's so mad he accidentally hit him. Again, you could say, haha, it's funny. It makes no sense. Soma Takao just beat the fucking KOD champion in the last match. He was the first guy to finally beat the unbeatable champion. He's 1 point behind Endo. If he wins this match, he could win the entire block, and he's out here doing comedy about how he is mad at Shimatani. He's going to chase him up the ramp. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck is this? That was the part that killed me. If this was a match where Soma Takao had 2 points too, or even 4 points or whatever, he was out of the tournament, fine. I guess I would get it then. But it's like, sir, you can win the block, and you're chasing this man up the ramp because you're mad he hit him. He hit you with an aluminum tin. Doesn't make any sense. So that really pissed me off. And then, we see that Shuma follows them. They go backstage. Schumer runs back to the ring. We see Soma's been all taped up in his body and ankles. It's like, haha, the Toriano thing. He tries to hop his way back to the ring, but Schumer takes one of these tins from inside the ring, tosses it, and hits him in the head. The ref is like, okay, 18, 19, 20. Like, why is that a count out? So you're allowed to throw a fucking tin at your opponent's head to incapacitate them outside of the ring, and the ref will just be like, I just gotta keep counting. Can't do anything else here. I was like, this fucking sucked. So if it's no DQ, don't waste my time with the ref bump, and also why are there countouts? And if it's not no DQ, I have no idea how any of that stuff made sense. So I didn't even like the match that much before the silliness started, and I didn't find any of that remotely entertaining. I thought it was like actively stupid. So I went 1 3/4. Worst match of the tournament. Bad. Bad match. That is my opinion on that match. I'm not expecting you to defend any of it, but I just really...
I just subtracted both of my stars that I gave it.
It's so fucking... It just makes no sense. It's like, if he was not alive in the tournament, I would have given it a little more leeway. But, like, sir, you can win the block. Why are you chasing your fucking comedy sidekick to the back, hitting him with a 10? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thankfully that's the only thing on the show that sucks. So
yeah, the good news is that the rest of the matches were all really good.
Up next, Jun Akiyama defeats Yuki Ueno with the front neck lock in 11:51. This is the only match of the three where both guys are still alive. They both had 6 points, so Jun goes up to 8 points here, takes the lead in the block, and now is looking for Endo to get upset in the next match, which of course happened. So he ends up winning the block. Akiyama just beats the crap out of Ueno at the start of this. Really won't let him get anything going. We get another count-out tease for Ueno, but the moment he beats the count, Jun runs over and nails him with that awesome stuff power driver he's been doing for a 2 count, so that was great. Ueno finally comes back with a big delayed suplex. Looks very impressive given the size difference. And he goes for the big spinning plancha to the floor, but ultimately just seems to graze Akiyama more than anything, but he still bumped for it, so it was fine. But Akiyama gets back into control fairly quickly when they get in the ring. He gets that front guillotine, the front neck lock locked in. He lets go of it and rolls him over. Only gets a 2 count. He gets an exploder. Ueno suddenly no-sells. Hits the very similar Blizzard suplex with a bridge for a close 2 count. Blizzard always has the bridge, I think, right?
Yeah, always. They call it Blizzard suplex hold, which in Japanese means, with the pin.
Yeah.
Quote unquote Japanese, still English, but yeah.
Yeah. He misses a moonsault, the double jump when he does, then eats a running knee from Jun for another close 2 count. Akiyama hits another exploder for another close near fall, and then follows up with the wrist clutch exploder. That would have been it, but he pulls Ueno up at 2 and decides to put him in the front neck lock again for the win instead, which I love it when Jun's like sadistic side is coming out there. But this was like awesome. I mean, just an awesome sprint of a match. Akiyama was great as the big bully, just like he has been throughout. And Ueno had a great tournament too. He did a great job as the underdog. Came up just a little short. I went 4 stars flat on this. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I went 3.5. I liked it a lot. One little, small part of it that I really enjoyed was early on in the match, Akiyama gets Ueno in just like a front face lock, I guess you would call it. Not necessarily a submission, but just a hold. And, Ueno doesn't want any part of that, position. Quickly getting to the ropes. I think that actually happened twice before he did the front neck lock. So that was very well set up throughout. The other thing that was interesting to me was just kind of the size dynamic, because you don't really think of Akiyama as, a giant, but compared to Ueno, he more or less is. But it worked out really well. A good contrast to both, or like a callback to his match with Takeshita with the finish, obviously, and also a contrast to his match with Higuchi, which was, one-sided completely, but the finish was on the other end. So, good match and a good, change of gears to get us back into these league matches after the first one.
Then we have so that, like I said, that eliminated Higuchi. So Jun now has 8 points because Higuchi was at 7. So Higuchi was stuck at that 7 with this being his bye night. So yeah, the next match was, like I said, very simple. If Endo had won it, he would go to the final. If he lost, Akiyama goes to the final. And if there's a draw, we would have needed an Akiyama Endo tiebreaker, as they would have both been at 8 points. So the final B block match, Makoto Oishi defeats Tetsuya Endo with the Fujiyama knee lock in 1926. I didn't realize it was that long. Wow. So Makoto goes to 4 points and Endo ends at 7. So Akiyama does win the block. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the thing that stood out to me here was that, Oishi and Akiyama are in the same stable, right? So Oishi's kind of like fighting for his leader's spot in the finals here. So, when they added Oishi to what's now called Junretsu, I had second thoughts about it. I didn't see him as the right fit. But, if this was the match that they were planning to do, by all means, I think it was an excellent decision because I love this match.
Yeah, for sure. I think you might have had it higher than me then if you said you loved it. So I guess we'll talk about that.
I gave it 4 stars.
Okay. So Endo spends the early portion of this working over Oishi. He drives knees into his ribs and such. I thought Oishi's comeback was not that exciting. He does go into a chin lock, goes on for a little bit. We do get some nice. We do get our first big excitement to me with the big space flying tiger drop from Endo, and then things do pick up a lot after that with them going back and forth. Endo eventually gets more of a solid advantage. He gets that cool running drop kick from one side of the apron to the other, and then hits a Canadian Destroyer for a 2 count. He lifts him up for the Torture Rack bomb, but gets countered by Oishi into a Crucifix bomb. That looked awesome. And then he follows up with a second Crucifix bomb, which might look even better than the first one. That gets a close near fall. And then Oishi eventually gets him in the knee lock, and Endo submits. The finish took it down a little bit for me, because this felt super anticlimactic to me, because Endo is doing all this Endo unbeatable champion stuff. He won the King of DDT. He didn't even lose a match in this tournament until the last one against Soma, where Soma had to practically kill him to beat him. So for this lower card guy, just kind of get this knee lock and submit him. I lost you again, I think. Wow, this is going well here recording, but you can still hear me, folks, so I'll keep going. But yeah, for this lower card guy, to just kind of get him in this knee lock and submit him, I don't know. It just I would have much preferred a flash pin finish. I think that's kind of what I was expecting to happen, and I really did not like that. Endo just beat him Endo just tapped with his leg lock. I would have preferred a flash pin or something. So it just felt too easy to me for Oishi, given their respective levels, and the Endo unbeatable champion stuff they've been doing. But yeah, still a good match by the end. I went 3.5, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, to me the legwork was awesome. I really like that. This was actually so good to me that it made me want to go back and look at Oishi's career to see where he came from, which I've never been compelled to do before. I just kind of saw him as an undercard guy that was there in DDT. I guess to me the story was that he was fighting for Akiyama the whole time. And as a person who really wants to see Akiyama and Takeshita have another match, I bought into that. I was more invested in Oishi fighting for Akiyama than I was invested for anything in the New Japan show, just because I really want to see that rematch. But yeah, his aggression, the focused leg attack, a totally different type of match for Endo too. I really enjoyed this, and definitely the best Oishi match I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen some way better Oishi matches, but really? I think I watched the 18 more than you do. Yeah, because he had a title challenge against Endo that was really incredible. I think he had one against Takeshita too that was really good. So,
well, now I want to watch those. I would have no interest in watching. I mean, I'm sure I've seen them when they happened. But yeah, I'll go back and check them out.
Let me see if I can find it. It'll take me 2 seconds because
I know he had a 2018 title match against Endo.
Was it 2018? Really? Was that long ago? Let me see. Hold on, so I can find the matches I'm talking about. Cage match, KOD. Should be not. Yeah. So it was 2019. So it was okay. Max Bump 2019, April 28, 2019. That match I remember being incredible. So that's definitely the one I'm thinking of. So there you go.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Anyway, so not that this was bad or anything, but I just went 3.5 on it. But
yeah.
The next match, we go to A block now. So Akito defeats Yukio Sakaguchi by TKO with a modified figure 4 leg lock in 8:56. That moves Akito up to 7 points, and that eliminates Sakaguchi, who was at 6 points. The A block was the exact same setup as the B block, where the 6-point guys were alive. there was one person with 7 points who was Hiroshima, so he was ahead of ahead of everybody. But the 6 point people all could have won. The only difference is you didn't have Higuchi sitting out, who was also alive. So, but yeah, other than that, like if Sakaguchi had won, he would have been leading the block, but he lost here. And Akito was already eliminated, even though he had 5 points, and now had 7 because there was no way for nobody to get higher than 7. Because Takashita was fighting Hiroshima. Takashita has 6 and Hiroshima has 7, so even a draw there would have put Hiroshima at 8. So,
but a similar dynamic here where Akito's kind of fighting for Takeshita's chance at making the finals.
Exactly, yeah. And this starts with a lot of mat wrestling. Probably not surprising if you know either guy. The best sequence to me, there was this one where like Yukio nearly got a triangle, Akito turned it into a key lock, then nearly got a roll up pin out of it, but then Yukio turned it back into a triangle. That was my favorite part of the match, probably. But then Akito ends up getting the figure 4 on, and the ref stops it. And I thought there was a damn good bit of mat wrestling. I went 3.5 on this. Easily Akito's best match at the end of what was a very disappointing tournament for him. He just was not a good tournament for him at all, honestly. But
yeah, I had it at 3.25. I enjoyed it a lot. It felt really short to me. Do you have the time on it?
8:56.
Yeah, so, really good, really focused leg attack, kind of similar to the Oishi Endo match, which was also a focused leg attack. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, and it kind of set. This is right after intermission, so it kind of set the tone for the next 2 matches as well.
Up next, Mao defeats Chris Brooks with an inside cradle in 14:28. Brooks was also at 6 points, so he also gets eliminated by losing here, and Mao gets up to 6 points. It was all Brooks here for the early portion of the match. He went after Mao's taped arm and then just choked him in the corner. Mao finally came back with a real nice dive to the floor after the 5-minute mark, followed by a diving knee drop back in the ring, basement dropkick for a 2 count. We had a big back and forth exchange. My problem with this match wasn't really anything they tried to do. I thought a lot of it just looked a little awkward or a little off. Not that it was bad, but here's one example. So Mao takes this double arm top rope suplex. He basically lands on all fours or kind of and no sells it. It just looked weird. It didn't look cool to me. It just looked very, very strange. And then he hits a spin kick and his cross-arm powerbomb. He weirdly can't cover right away. And again, I guess it's supposed to be that he's selling his arm or something, but he just kind of stumbles around like he's drunk. So it doesn't really look good it just doesn't look good. So by the time he finally does cover, of course, only gets a 2 count. So
to me, I think the thing that sets this match apart from the other ones, or distinguishes this match from the other ones, is that this one didn't really have any clear psychology to me, whereas the other ones all had a pretty clear focus. This one just kind of felt like guys doing moves to me. Yeah, but it was cool.
Mao does a backflip to avoid a Brooks kick, comes back with a super kick, and then a Michinoku driver 2 for another 2 count. Brooks goes for the praying mantis bomb. Mao lands on his feet, gets his flipping driver thing, that gets another 2 count. Brooks comes back with a nice counter knee in mid-air to Mao as he was going for a springboard, catches him with a tombstone power driver for another 2 count. Brooks goes for the praying mantis bomb. Mao rolls him out of nowhere for the pin. This one, like I said, felt a little sloppy to me in places. It just kind of reminded me of a U.S. indie match, which I definitely don't mean as a compliment. They both kicked out of everything under the sun, and they just do a cradle finish, which to me, that is like a U.S. indie trope, where I feel like I've been to a million shows where guys kick out of every goddamn move you've ever invented, and then one rolls up the other one for the pin, because they don't want to actually job to each other or whatever. But, I don't know, I went 3 stars. I can't go lower than that. It was fine, but it didn't do much for me, really. So...
Yeah, I went 3.25 here, but it's a very different 3.25 than the previous one. This one is just because they worked so hard and they did a lot of cool shit, but it wasn't really meaningful. Was my main critique. I thought the cradle at the end of the match looked really cool, but that's kind of just the whole vibe here. It's everything, well, not everything, but a lot of it looked cool, but didn't really have any, meaning to it.
Yeah. I don't know. Just if you're gonna do the WrestleMania kickouts, you need to have a finish to me. It can't be a cradle. Yeah. That's my other good take. The main event in the A block, Konosuke Takeshita defeats Hiroshima with the German suplex in 2039. Takeshita goes up to 8 points and wins the block. Hiroshima finishes with 7. This was fucking awesome. This was a really awesome match. Hiroshima works over Takeshita's arm a bit in the early going. Not as much as I expected, honestly, but he does work it over. He eventually gets the big Fujiwara armbar, but Takeshita escapes. And that leads into a big elbow exchange, and then a really unique spot where Hiroshima sort of misses an enziguri, which lets Takeshita use his own momentum to slam his leg down, sort of similar to a dragon screw, but not really. It looks really cool. It's like set up to Takeshita getting a figure 4, but Hiroshima does end up escaping. Hiroshima then just starts beating the shit out of Takeshita with kicks, these really stiff ones, including a high kick right to the side of the head that looked great. He gets a reverse Rana. He pauses to sell the leg from the previous leg work from Takeshita's damage. But then he starts posing like he's going to go for Samato, but still with his back turned. Takeshita recovers and gets his own reverse Rana. That was pretty awesome. Followed by a great lariat where he like almost falls down as he lands. And that leads to a double knockout tease, and they do both recover. Takeshita eventually does eat the Samato from Hiroshima, but he grabs the bottom rope to force the break. Takeshita comes back with a powerbomb and then a running knee, but Hiroshima also gets a rope break. Hiroshima then suddenly takes Takeshita down out of nowhere and goes for a Kimura, trying to take advantage of the bad arm. I honestly thought this was going to be it. Either tap out or ref stoppage. But Takeshita somehow manages to power him all the way up, slams him out of it. That looked impressive. And then Hiroshima goes for the bad arm again, almost like from in front of him. But Takeshita instead suddenly gets the German out of that position out of nowhere, which was awesome. And that's the pin. The finish was like truly awesome. Just out of nowhere,
yeah.
like a great counter.
Yeah, to me the arm work in this match was really good. I think you undersold it a little, but I think that it played perfectly into the finish, and kind of similar even to the Super Juniors match. Like this was desperation for Takeshita. Like he knew, like you mentioned, that if he didn't get the pin here, that he was going to have to give up. So yeah, I thought this was worked really well, really tight, a lot tighter than their previous matches. I feel like their previous matches are kind of more epic, whereas this one was like very focused and concise.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it 3 3/4 stars.
I went 4 1/4, so I liked it better than you did, I guess. But
yeah.
I really thought all this Takeshita arm injury stuff was a way for them to get out of him winning the block. And they were doing the Hiroshima versus Akiyama, like legend versus legend final. But instead, it was a setup for the big Takeshita comeback. So he wins the block and will now face Akiyama.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that match.
Yeah, I mean, their match at Ultimate Party was awesome. So, but yeah, this match fucking ruled. Easily the best match of the tournament at 4 1/4. So overall, this was the best match of the tournament since Night 1. I don't know if it was better than Night 1 overall. It's close. These had the best match. Night 1 was probably more consistently good. But this was still a damn good show. Only one bad match, a lot of good stuff. 2 flat-out awesome matches, I thought. And now we get ready for Akiyama versus Takeshita on 12/27, I believe, in the finals. So we see, does Takeshita get his win back from Ultimate Party faster than I expected? Or is Akiyama going to win and go for a rematch with Endo, who beat him in the KOD? Or in the D-Ou, I mean. So, I'll have to wait and see. What's your...
To me, the all-out Junretsu feud is like the best thing in DDT this year.
Yeah.
And it's really, you could really just call it Akiyama and Takeshita feud because they're really just, the other people are just there to support this rematch, basically. So yeah, like I said, I'm super looking forward to this one.
Do you have any prediction?
I think Takeshita will win this one.
Okay, I think Akiyama, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Because I think it'll take like one more try for Takeshita to beat him. The final D-Ou standings in the A block, Takeshita wins with 4-2, 8 points. Then you have Hiroshima and Akito, both 3-2-1 for 7 points. Then a big 3-way tie, Yukio Sakaguchi, Chris Brooks, and Mao, all 3-3 for 6 points. And then, of course, Daisuke Sasaki, who had his 1 win, and then had to forfeit his last 5 matches due to injury, only 2 points. B block, Jun Akiyama wins the block with 8 points. Tetsuya Endo and Katsura Higuchi tie for second at 3-2-1 for 7 points. I believe Endo beat Higuchi, so I think he would have the tie break. Unless they had the draw against each other. I don't remember. Soma Takao and Yuki Ueno, both 6 points, 3 and 3. And then Shuma, Katsumata, and Makoto Oishi, both 4 points, 2 and 4. Last thing to wrap up the DO here with the block over, I have my average star ratings and my top 10 match list. So I'm just going to go through that really quickly here. First, the top 10 match list. 10th place, I basically had to pick. I had like a whole bunch of 3.5 star matches, and I had room for only one of them on this list. So I went with Akito versus Yukio Sakaguchi from this show, Night 7, December 12th, 3.5. Really good mat wrestling. I just decided to pick this one. I don't know. Really didn't think about it that much because I was in a rush. But, there might have been a 3.5 star match I like better. That's the one I went with. The next 3 matches were all 3 3/4. 9th place, Harashima versus Chris Brooks from Night 1, November 22nd. Daisuke Sasaki, his only appearance against Konosuke Takeshita, also Night 1, November 22nd. And 7th place, Soma Takao against Tetsuya Endo from Night 6, December 6th, 3, also 3 3/4. 6 through 2, all 4 stars flat. 6th place, Tetsuya Endo versus Jun Akiyama from Night 1, 4 stars. A little disappointing maybe for what I expected from those two, but they still had an awesome match. 5th place, Takeshita versus Sakaguchi from Night 6. Just loved that match with Sakaguchi like targeting the arm throughout, and he's like a perfect guy for that, so it really worked. 4th place, Jun Akiyama versus Yuki Ueno from this show, Night 7. 3rd place, Tetsuya Endo versus Yuki Ueno from Night 3, November 29th. Just an awesome champion versus champion match. 2nd place, Yuki Ueno versus Katsusada Higuchi from Night 1, November 22nd, 4 stars. And the 1st place match, Takeshita versus Harashima, Night 7, December 12th, 4 1/4. There you go.
Yeah, we were talking before. I said that I had one that stood out to me, and, it was your second match, the Ueno versus Higuchi match. I love that match. Obviously, I didn't watch every single show like you did, but that one stood out to me. And then the other one, which you didn't mention, I think quickly deserves some mentioning just because it was so unique, is the Higuchi versus Akiyama match.
Right.
What do you think about that one?
I think I gave it like 3.5. It was only like 4 minutes, but it was definitely worth watching. So, yeah, I went into detail on that on whatever show I covered on Night 6. I don't know if it was free feed or Patreon at this point, but let me give my average star ratings now. For the A block, I left off Daisuke Sasaki because he would obviously, he had one match, so it's not really fair to the rest of the guys. But yeah, so 6th place, last place, Akito, 2.55. A weird tournament for him. I usually love him, but other than the last night, he had a bad tournament. I've talked a lot about throughout the tournament. I don't know what was his problem, but he just didn't seem like he tried that hard. Didn't seem like he was into it. Just not a good tournament for him. 5th place, Chris Brooks at 3.05. He was all right. He just didn't click with me on some nights and just wasn't anything special. Very similar, 4th place for Mao at 3.10. He was fine, decent, but again, there were some nights he didn't click with me. And the top 3, Konosuke Takeshita, 3.42. Very much feast or fan for me. He had some matches I loved, had some matches I really didn't like at all. There was the one he did, I think with Akito that I really hated. That was like, really ridiculously long and just was not good at all. Let me see. I have my spreadsheet in front of me. I can tell you. Yes, it was the Akito match. I gave it 2 stars. I hated that match. So gets my very much non-recommendation. But yeah, other than that, I thought he had a pretty good tournament, and the arm injury thing. The Brooks match I didn't love either. I went 3 stars on that, but everything else was good to great. So Mao 3.5, Sakaguchi 4, Harashima 4 1/4, Sasaki 3 3/4. So 4 good matches, 2 bad ones. That was his tournament. That's why he ends up in 3rd. 2nd place, Yukio Sakaguchi, 3.45. Opposite of Takeshita, just really consistent throughout. And 1st place, Harashima, 3.5. So definitely the highlight of the A block. Just very good tournament for Harashima as usual. The B block, 7th place, Soma Takao, 2.88. He got dragged down at the end by this match I hated with him and Shuma, and he finished below Shuma, which I don't even really know how that happened. I guess Shuma was like just good enough outside of that. Yeah, he had a lot of 3-star stuff, and the other match I didn't like at Takao's was against Higuchi, which I don't even remember that match, but I gave it 2 1/4. But yeah, he was, the only match I really liked was the Endo match. The rest of his stuff was just kind of there. A lot of 3 1/4. 1 3-star. And then 6th place, Shuma Katsumata, 3.04. again, didn't love a lot of his stuff. Didn't love the, a couple three. Actually, well, other than that Soma match, I gave him 3 stars once, 3.25 twice, 3.5 twice. So I guess he was fine, but he doesn't stick out as a guy I really like that much. Tied for 4th, Kasada Higuchi and Makoto Oishi, both 3.33. Both these guys had good tournaments. Not a lot to say about them. They're just good, solid tournaments with some really high-end stuff for Higuchi especially. And then a 3-way tie for 1st. Tetsuya Endo, Yuki Ueno, and Jun Akiyama, all with a 3.58. So these were the best wrestlers in the tournament. Endo I gave 4 stars twice. Higuchi I went 4 once, but then he was just really solid throughout. Higuchi was 3.33, but yeah, really solid throughout otherwise. Ueno, I went 4 stars 3 times. So he just had a great tournament from the high-end stuff, but then, his other 3 matches were, a little lower, 3, 3.25. And Akiyama was just, 4 stars twice, couple 3.5s, couple 3.25s, just very good stuff from him throughout. So these were definitely the 3 best wrestlers in the tournament, Endo, Akiyama, and Yuki Ueno. So there you go. That's your deal.
I wonder what you think about Ueno. Obviously, most of his year was focused on tag wrestling. But, now towards the end, he's getting a title run. Is this the best he's ever been in singles now?
I think so. I think he's really coming to his own now. So
I think so, too. And he's always been a guy that I've liked and wanted to be good. And, seems like a guy who could be a cornerstone for the company. But I think now he's finally putting it all together. We're seeing it happen right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. So he's definitely one of these guys that's really going to help DDT going forward if he's keep at this level, another young gun. So he has to still be very young. Let me just look this up real quick because I'm curious. I'd be stunned if he was over 26.
Yeah, I was going to say he's probably right around 25.
Let's see. Yuki Ueno. It does not have a wiki entry, so I got to check Cage Man. Yeah, he's exactly 25. There you go. So that makes total sense. But there you go. That's my D-O wrap-up. We will have the finals over on the Patreon on December 27th. So that is the Akiyama Takeshita final. But this was not a great tournament by any stretch. I thought it was the weakest of the 3 tournaments. I would put it below World Tag League. But, it was not as good as last year's for sure. But it wasn't, I can't call it bad, I guess. There was enough good stuff that it was, I don't know, if I was going to rate out of 10, it'd be a 5.5 or something. Slightly above average. There were too many nights that just didn't have a ton of fun stuff. But, it bookended with good shows, so that counts for something. But, the stuff in between was not always great. So, there you go. Any final D-O thoughts before we wrap it up?
I mean, I think for me, when Takeshita lost to Akiyama, it was basically, for me, that they were going to have this match now. So I think, maybe it didn't deliver every night, but I feel like it definitely delivered in its goal, which is getting us back to this point. So I can't really... I guess the booking was really good to me. Whether or not every single match delivered is a question for sure, or...
Oh, I think you broke up again. JoJo? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm not going to edit
this.
I have 4 edits already, so I'm not going to... People can deal with this if they made it this far.
Did I cut out?
You did cut out at the very end. I heard the last thing I heard. I guess you said was booking or something. The booking was really good.
Yeah, I was saying just basically that, and that one was my fault, by the way, because my phone went back to a lock screen. But I guess while the tournament didn't deliver high end matches every night, I feel like it was used well to tell the overall story for the company, which is getting us back to Takeshita versus Akiyama, which I feel like is basically the best story of the year. This year in DDT, so it serves its purpose to me.
Alrighty. Alright, so we can wrap it up here. Next week on Omakase, we will be kicking off our year in review. Now, we're starting this later than in previous years, so there's only going to be 4 episodes this time. 2 of them will be here on the free feed. 2 of them will be on the Patreon. On the free feed next week, you're going to get miscellaneous Puro. So this will be any Puro other than New Japan, DDT, and Joshi, which all get their own episode. So we'll do Noah, All Japan, Big Japan, anything else people want to talk about. So that'll be me and Paul Vosch and John Hernandez and Gerard all from VOW, of course. So all three will be on with me next week to talk all these different PRO companies, their year in review 2020. That's our next episode. The other free episode will be the New Japan episode. I think I can confirm both the Super J-Cast guys. Joel and Damon have both confirmed they're going to do it. Might be 2 more people. That's all I'm going to say. We'll see. It could be 2 other prominent hosts have said they will try to do it as well. So we'll see if that happens, I guess. But that will be 2 weeks from now on the free feed. And on the Patreon, we'll have a Joshi year interview with myself, the same 2 as last year, Taylor from Jumping Bomb Audio and Luke from Apricot Pod. So 2 people who know their Joshi very well. And then also DDT with you and also Jamie from Dramatic DDT supposedly is going to come on. So we have to work out a taping schedule still. But that will
and I promise to work out my setup here so that I have so many problems on the next one.
Yes, I hope so. So that'll be on the Patreon. Myself, you, and Jamie will be doing the DDT year interview. I still have to work out a taping schedule. But yes, that'll be exclusive to the Patreon along with the Joshi one. So if you want all our year interview content, you have to subscribe. It's $5 at patreon.com/Wrestling Omakase. We dropped WWE this year. We dropped I think we did an AW ROH combo episode last year. I don't want to talk about AW, I guess, is what it comes down to for that one. I mean, I've watched the pay-per-views and a little of the TV. I just, people probably who listen to this know that, like, I'm not the biggest AW fan. And, like, if you talk about how you don't like AW, like, on the internet right now, people get very mad. So, like, either you'll get, like, unfollowers, or people will fucking talk shit, or, like, get very angry and be atting you. And it's just a pain in the ass. So, like, I don't know. The AW fan base at this point, you gotta chill. That's my message to you. Like, I am not doing that episode this year because I just don't want to deal with you guys. So, that's what it comes down to. Like, some of the AW fans on Twitter are just, and, like, other places, like the VOW Discord stuff, are, like, fucking insane. And they don't deal well with criticism. So I really don't want to deal with that. So that's why we're not doing an AW episode this year. I think most people know what my AW thoughts are. But, it's not my favorite promotion. It's not like it was bad or anything. It was just, just don't really care. I'm sure the Everything Elite people will do some kind of some year interview thing or something. So go listen to that. They're great. WWE, I just didn't watch it all this year. I mean, I stopped watching it in, like, February. Like, the last pay-per-view I watched all the way through was the Elimination Chamber one. So we're not doing a WWE year interview because, it would be me bringing on guests and being like, okay. Like, I'd have nothing to add. Like, at least in previous years, I watched, like, most of the pay-per-views. I just really can't watch the Empty Arena stuff with them. I don't know. Like, the Thunderdome is, I guess this is my WWE year interview right now. Every time I try to draw on the Thunderdome, especially, it's so aggressively terrible that I can't watch it. I mean, it's like, between the screens and all the lights and the fake crowd noise, that's the worst fake crowd noise probably in wrestling history. It's just, it's so actively, it just turns me, it's such a turn off that I sincerely can't watch it. So, I haven't watched it this year. I can't tell you if it's good or bad. I bet it was bad, but I can't tell you for sure either way. So we're not doing a WWE year interview this year. If they ever go back to shows in front of normal buildings in 2021, maybe we'll be able to do it at the end of next year. But that's the reason why there's no WWE or AEW year interview episodes this year. But we are doing New Japan, DDT, Joshi, and Miscellaneous Puro. So those will be the 4 episodes. JoJo, anything you want to plug before you wrap this up here?
Nothing to plug for me. I just say, thanks for having me on. And obviously you deserve a break now from having to watch so much wrestling.
There's a lot of wrestling.
I think it's time for you to get outside a little bit, get some fresh air.
I go on my balcony. It's honestly the first time I've been really happy to have 2 balconies in this apartment, which is pretty rare for New York. And, this is like the upside of living in a neighborhood in the Bronx called Throgs Neck, where, like, we're very close from we're very far from public transit and stuff. So they have to do something to make you want to live out here. But yeah, I always thought the trade-off was bad because I never used my balconies, but like I have these long-ass commutes. But now during COVID, it's like, oh, this trade-off is great now because I don't have a commute anymore, but I'm home all the time, so I go out my balcony all the time. So I'm finally getting the most out of living here.
Well, that's good.
But there you go. I'm definitely going to watch less wrestling I already did this past week and definitely this week too, so.
Good.
But yeah. You don't want to plug your Twitter or anything?
My Twitter is JoJo_runs.
Okay.
You can follow me there. Sometimes I tweet about wrestling. Sometimes I tweet about Miami Marlins baseball, which I always seem to mention. But yeah, it's a good time.
There you go. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Wrestle Omakase, Wrestling Would Not Fit. We will see you next week for the miscellaneous PR episode, The Year in Review. 2020 kicks off. What a year it was. Thank you, as always, for listening. Thank you for listening, and I don't know why I said that twice. See you next time.
Oh, what's this?
Zenny's 3D virtual try-on. Pretty cool, right?
Wait, are those prices real? Do they have glasses for men?
Yep, they also have affordable blue light glasses.
Seriously? At those prices? Get them all.
I like where this is going.
Zenny.com. Prescription glasses starting at $6.95.
You know, as different as everything seems this holiday season, one thing still holds true year after year. Everybody loves holiday scratch-offs from the Ohio Lottery. And with tickets available from $1 to $20, they're the perfect gift for anyone on your list 18 years or older. So, stay safe this year and play it safe with your gift giving. Give scratch-offs from the Ohio Lottery!
Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Please play responsibly.